What's up, guys? I wanted to really check this video out. But before we start, I want to say this is a Jubilee video, so you will only you will only hear because you will only hear the audio because Jubilee will they you know copyright strike you for using their video. So it is what it is. I'm sorry. If you want to see the video, you just you want to see the video yourself, without the commentary, and you can watch the video. You can just go to their site, their channel. So it is. I wanted to watch it, and I want to you know break it or give some commentary, give some reaction to it. So if you guys like it, that'd be awesome, right? But if you don't, cool. All right, let's start it. Let's check it out.
Claim is incentive is the engine of capitalism. Remove it and the system fails.
Hey, great to meet you, Patrick.
What's your name?
My name's Mason.
Mason, good to meet you.
Yeah. I'm value-tained. I'm a big fan of the channel.
Are you
So,
really?
yeah, I do
Oh,
watch
that's
it quite
good.
regularly.
Very cool.
I do not agree with your claim. I don't think that incentives are only born out of capitalism.
Okay.
Most capitalist defenders say that incentive is because of scarcity, and people's ability to get what is necessary pushes them to work harder. I disagree with that. I'd say that some of our hardest workers are single moms working 3 to 4 jobs, and the resources that they're able to acquire compared to those that utilize their workers in order to build profit for their own companies is not equivocal.
So how would you do it? How would you change it?
Yeah, so I think that humans inherently want to be meaningful. They want to contribute to their communities. They want to contribute to society. When you look at depression rates, often
I I think modern day human, they rather be lazy. Honest opinion, I believe modern day human rather be lazy. They rather get handouts. They rather take the easy route, the easy route, right? That's how I see it. I don't believe that people want to work hard. People want to achieve. People want to create. I don't believe that. Not in mass. I don't believe the majority. I believe we've created very entitled humans, right? I don't know if it's necessarily ingrained in us to be lazy, but I think modern day humans definitely.
times it's people who aren't able to do anything besides laying in their bed and basically barely taking care of themselves. So I think that it's just a human intrinsic value to want to bring value to their community or grander society.
Okay,
so I don't think that it has to be through scarcity alone that scares people into working, if that makes
I
sense.
worked for scarcity. I think there's levels to it. You have the survival folks who work for survival to pay their bills. Some work for status, some work for freedom, and some work for legacy. The folks that work 3 or 5 jobs, to pay their bills and do what they're doing, if the incentive wasn't there, they wouldn't work 3 to 5 jobs. Some of the guys that build a bigger business that solve a lot of problems.
The incentive there is either I die or I work. That's not really a system that
but
rewards merit. That's a system that pushes people into insecure positions.
Not necessarily. In many cases, we put ourselves in situations as well. But when we're talking incentive,
are you saying that it's an individual failure for these single mothers that are working 3 to 4 jobs?
for some of them,
Yes, it is. Like these single mothers. Guess what? You chose the part. I've said this countless times before. I believe one of the most valuable or most important decisions you can make is who you choose to mate with, who you choose to be with. So it's choice. You chose the partner you got. You chose the partner you mate with. So yes, it's on the individual level. That is that is the case.
it is.
Interesting.
For some
Wow.
of them, it is.
I'm glad you bite that bullet
I know,
because
I
most
did-
people are not going to say that it's a moral failure of people
Not a
that are
moral
born
failure.
into
No,
poverty
not a-
that continue to
Let
live
me
out
explain to
cyclical
you. For somebody
poverty.
like me, I came from the single mother system. My mother was a single mother. We had, my parents got a divorce twice. They married each other. They divorced. They remarried each other. Divorced again. I came up. We didn't have a lot of choices. I joined the army. I got in that system. Kind of wanted to see what I was going to do for myself. Do I stay in the army? Do I get out of the army? I started working in sales. And then the incentive of working harder, eventually I built a good life for myself.
Again, you're totally dismissing the hard work that a lot of these people are putting into for just basic survival. I'd say that mechanics and plumbers and most people working blue collar jobs that are probably watching this video are working tirelessly day after day.
I don't
but yet
disagree.
They
I don't
still
disagree.
feel insecure positions to where they don't even know if they're going to be able to afford rent in the next 6 months.
So let me ask
if
you-
most
But the incentive is that they will get to the point where, they are. This is the thing where so many people don't understand. The incentive is you get to a point where you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You are at a point where you can be financially free, hopefully. So I think that's kind of, off.
Americans have a $400 to $500 emergency. They can't even afford that with the basic savings that they have. So this is not something that we should celebrate as promises of a system that gives you more if you work harder. We should say that this is something that
And this is the thing. Well, I agree and I disagree. We have a system that, yes, if you work hard, you may achieve something. But the issue is that we only think about working hard. Why don't you also work smart? Um, I said this in another video, and I've said this in other videos where the problem is this mindset is the victimhood mindset. I can never achieve anything. I can never, working hard is not going to get me nowhere. I'm always going to be living paycheck to paycheck. I'm always going to be struggling. Then you will always be struggling. You have to take a point in your life and take accountability and wake up and want to make changes. Push yourself to make changes. Can't just say, the world is unfair to me, so I give up. I don't know what to do. I'll just give up. I'm just gonna live paycheck to paycheck. Well, that mindset will get you what you want, right? That mindset and that drive, that or pretty much lack thereof, will get you what you pretty much believe you will get. We forget that at the end of the day, it is how you go about life. It's accountability, 100%. You control your life. Stop thinking, these single mothers, they have no control in their life. Everyone, right? Everyone has control in life. I agree. Working hard is a very hard thing. It's not going to necessarily get you to the the financial freedom that so many people desire. It could, but it might not. What adds to it is that, you know what? How about work smart? We keep on neglecting the fact or the mindset where a lot of people aren't working smart. They're working hard, but they're not working smart.
rewards few. And I'm glad that you're an outlier that's been able to build a lot of success for yourself. I know that you're a multimillionaire. That's fantastic that you have those resources. But the thing is that cannot happen for everybody in society. It's possible for each individual to do it, but not everybody can be a millionaire. That's guaranteed.
I don't think not everybody can be a billionaire or a millionaire, but I do think people can find.
Yes, not everyone can be a millionaire or billionaire, but I think majority of us can be financially free or financially in a good position. Okay. I believe because this is a thing where I have a friend who makes six. I mean, he makes 70K a year. 70K a year. A manager at whatchamacallit, Pet Boys. It's nothing, right? It's a manager at Pet Boys. Nothing crazy. He's not like no CEO, but he's a manager. Makes 70K, but he's essentially living paycheck to paycheck. It's how you go about it. He works hard, but he doesn't work smart. All right? If these people, a lot of people are making like 50K a year, 60K, 70K a year. That's working hard, right? They could be working hard. Problem is they're not working smart. They're not learning to save. They're not learning to budget. And they're not learning to invest. No one's saying that you become a millionaire, but a lot of time living comfortably, you don't have to be a millionaire. You could be a six-figure, you could have a six-figure net worth and be living comfortably.
Ways to use their time to effectively increase their market value. And I don't think many people do that. When I talk to people and they tell me, I've watched this show, I've watched every one of these shows, I've watched every one of these Netflix shows, you can use that time to increase your market value instead of kind of, focus on what's going on with the stories and shows that are out there.
Let's move away from Netflix and TV shows and talk specifically about, do you think that capitalism is a system of merit that rewards people that are of higher merit?
I do.
Okay, so how would you say that this is a meritocracy when we have some people that are born into excessive wealth and some people that are working minimum wage jobs to provide for 3 or 4 kids? How would you say that that's a meritocratic society?
Those are two different things.
They are two different things, very unequal things.
Well, no, not necessarily. The parents get credit for making responsible decisions so they can take care of their kids. The parents
get credit. So it's not a meritocracy, though. We're building dynasties of wealth.
Not necessarily. I didn't come from dynasties of wealth.
I know,
came from
you're an outlier. I get that. I get that individual. But we're talking about systems. Capitalism is a system. It's not an individual testimony.
But it's a system that you get to use in your advantage. It's a system that's produced the best results than any other economical system. There's not an economical system that's produced better results than this based on the incentive.
History is a march of progress, right? So there are going to be advancements that we make, or there's going to be solutions that we make to previous ailments. I'm not saying that capitalism hasn't brought in better things than systems like feudalism or monarchy, but that does not mean that we're at the end of history. Do you think that capitalism is the final solution?
No one says that. Right? But right now, propose a better solution. Like literally, you're not proposing nothing. You're just bitching about it. Propose a better solution. You don't. So right now, currently in society, capitalism is the best. Propose a better solution, right? So this is the thing where you're arguing against capitalism when you have nothing to go against it.
And this is what we're going to
I
last
think capitalism is the best economical system because it gives an incentive for you to decide how big of a life you want to build. And by the way, the best way to judge it, let me just say this to you. The best way to judge it is in a very simple way. Take all the countries around the world. There's many different economical systems. What has the longest line of people wanting to get in there? It's America. Why is that? 15 million people came here illegally. Millions came here illegally just the last 4 years.
A lot of that is because of economic
choose to
scarcity in
come
other
here?
countries. Well, one of them, we could talk about one, is American exceptionalism, which is continuing. Good to meet you.
Thank you. How are you?
I gotta admit, that's the corniest shit, right? That is like she ran, right? She ran to get in a position. I was like, okay.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alana. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so I think the issue is the framing of incentive here. Incentive doesn't disappear in a socialist or a communist society. It just changes and evolves. So we see in capitalism the incentive is obviously monetary gain, maybe even collecting capital itself. Through land ownership. In a communist or a socialist country, you would see incentive would just evolve into, I know it's a vague term, but the common good.
I always think it's absolutely entitled for any American to talk about communist or socialist society, to also purport it's like something special. Leave then. Move. Go. Right? America has the freedom. America does not hold anyone to live in its own borders, right? America does not stop you from living anywhere else you could live. Go to China, go to Russia, go to Cuba, do it. Not a single one of them, right, are like speeding to any of these other countries.
You have an incentive to do your chores around your house because you don't want to live in a filthy house, right? That makes sense. It doesn't have to be just monetary.
So you don't think monetary incentive drives people, or you're saying that people should be excited to do their job, whether they're getting incentivized for it or not? That's what you're saying.
People will be incentivized to do.
Give me a case
anything.
study. Give me a case study of that worked. Give me one case study.
We don't even need to look at case studies. We can just look at charity work.
Well, why don't we actually look at a case study? You got two countries. North Korea, South Korea. One is communism and one is capitalism.
Yes.
North Korea's GDP last year was $23 billion.
Are we judging countries' values based off GDP and not what they value for
freedom of speech. You can't, like,
or...
if you lived in North Korea, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now. You wouldn't have a voice. In South Korea, I'm gonna give you stats. In South Korea, their GDP is $1.7 trillion.
South Korea is also owned by like 5 companies in total in the entire
70
country.
times better
you think
than North
that's something
Korea.
about if you are employed by the top 5 countries?
Okay, yeah, great. It's owned by the top 5 country. Do you think any South Koreans would want to move into, North Korea, where no companies, right? No companies are owning anything in South Korea. I mean, North Korea. The absolute entitlement. Great. Great that the 5 companies own, so much in South Korea. So? Do you think South Koreans are dying to go move to North Korea? Again, the audacity, the entitlement to what? Complain about these more free countries, yet you don't have the urge to move to these lesser freed countries.
You are practically unemployed in these countries.
Do you like to be free?
I'm not going to be free in a country like South Korea where I'm only employed in 5 companies
to call
or no
somebody
job.
out like me? Do you like to be free where you can have a strong opinion? Do you like to be free to have your
I
dreams?
like to be free, but that's why I'm anti-capitalist.
Well, maybe you are
that is why I'm
North Korea
anti-capitalist,
or
because
Cuba or
capitalism
Venezuela.
removes that choice. There is no real incentive of capitalism because the incentive is survival. When you get into communism, the incentive is for the common good.
I love that. I got an offer for you before we move on. If I were to give you your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 to spend money,
Name me a communist country.
Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country? Whichever communist country you want to go to.
Yeah,
Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to go to. Choose any one of them, I'll give you one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not the fucking balls to do it. Not the listen. I love. One of the things I really wanted to react to because this guy like Patrick was multiple times, right? He put his money where his mouth is, right? Okay, you don't like this place, right? You don't like the society. You don't like the everything about it. I could pay you to leave. You want to leave? Do you? Would you leave? Would you leave to any of these other countries you think are so much better? I always hate these entitled Americans, right? Which is insane because being American myself, I love this country. I love this country. To think that, you know what? Socialists, communists, all these other countries, you know what? So much better. Or you know what? I was like, I hate this. I hate America. So I compare it to all these other, economic, government places, other these different kind of, governments. Do you want to go there? Crickets. Not a single person would accept that offer.
Hi. What's your name?
The running thing is just weird, right? This guy running, it's just. I also, I don't know. The quick debate is, I guess it's okay. It makes you move on to different people quickly. But I really wanted her to answer, right? I really wanted to answer. Would she go?
My name's Hunter. I'm going to be honest, I've never seen your videos before. Even though there is some real value to free enterprise, the profit motive often creates a perverse incentive and worse outcomes in certain situations. For example, healthcare. How much would you pay for a life-saving treatment for yourself or one of your family members?
How much would I pay for it?
Say you have cancer and you have an 80% survival rate with chemotherapy and less than 10% without it. How much would you pay? Whatever it takes, right?
Sure.
That's a situation of inelastic demand, when the amount that you're willing to pay is not based on the value of the service because your life does not have a finite value. In the US, 66.5% of all bankruptcies are because of medical debt. In most other developed nations, that number is way lower, if not zero. And at the same time, the US does not have one of the best healthcare systems in the world. We pay over $13,000 per capita. Meanwhile, Taiwan, which by most metrics has the best healthcare system and a national healthcare service, only pays about $2,500 per capita per year.
So what does that
I want to say this, okay? One of the things that I hate that we try to compare each other, right, to different countries and stuff, is that nowhere, right? Nowhere is perfect. Yes, our insurance, our reliance on insurance, that sucks. Our healthcare, yeah, that sucks. But name me a perfect country. Name me a perfect nation. There isn't any. At least not that I know of. So I just find this this need to compare and contrast. And comparing and contrasting, whatever, fine. But the need to, when you compare and contrast, just to put down, right, your birth nation is honestly a lot of times very idiotic. Now, wanting to improve it, great. But saying that, our government sucks, capitalism sucks, America sucks. Name me a perfect country. Name me a country that does not have its cons. That's the thing where, great, if you want to improve a nation, cool, I get it. Make steps to do it. But when you want to just compare and contrast so you can put down your country, I find it honestly just disgusting in a way.
Tell you.
That tells us
that's wasted expenditure.
Yes, that is a massively wasted expenditure.
That tells you the government doesn't know how to spend our money.
No,
they keep
in
raising
our case,
taxes,
we're
we keep
spending
more money, and they don't know how to spend the money.
No, most of that money is coming from private insurance. In fact, 77% of the people who went bankrupt from medical debt had insurance and then lost it because they couldn't pay.
So we can address that, the fact that 60-something% of bankruptcies are due to health, which is your right. We've done many content on that piece. I want you to come back to incentive. Address the issue with incentive right now, with capitalism.
The reason why the medical debt is so high in that is because of the profit motive. If people will pay whatever it takes to not die, the profit motive in that case is perverse because healthcare shouldn't be a market in the same way that other things might be a market.
So you don't think that the motive to have profit, to come out with a solution, is a good thing for the marketplace, specifically in the healthcare side?
on which market you're talking about. It's way different. We're talking about video games or cell phones or TVs or other goods that aren't as necessary as
You're
healthcare
specific to
treatments.
healthcare.
Yes, I'm talking
Okay.
specifically about
So
healthcare
there's
in certain other markets.
You ever
where
heard of
there's a
Home Depot?
natural-
You ever heard of Home Depot?
Yes, I'm aware.
So one of the guys who's the founders of Home Depot, investors of Home Depot, his name is
Sure.
Ken Langone. His father died at 62 years old. Ken Langone today is roughly 90 years old, give or take. When he died at 62 years old, he tells the story that if there was a simple thing as blood thinners, his father would have lived to be 90 years old just like he is today.
Yes, that makes
came
sense.
because of innovation, which he's been on for many years. My dad's been on blood thinners
Sure,
for the
but
last 40 years. So
I think
the
you're
incentive to create a
conflating
solution-
two things right now.
No,
Not
it's
all
about
innovation
incentive. It's
is the
about
result
incentive.
of the market, because many healthcare
Most is, though.
developments are created by research grants from healthcare funding, whether it's in the United States or in
Over
other countries. In
2/3
most other first world countries,
Yeah.
the result of medical research developments.
It gets kind of get annoying where people gotta talk over each other. It's like, this is why it's I guess this. I mean, this is a debate, so it's kind of like not enjoyable.
Which are massively outpacing that in the U.S. now because of our inefficiency, because we have a market-based system for healthcare.
A very basic
Most
question
of that
for you.
is because
a very basic
of
question for
non-market-based
you.
systems.
Basic question for you. If that's the case, it keeps going back to the same thing. If it's better in other places than it is here, why are Americans and others not going there? Why are people coming here? It's very basic.
How much does a plane ticket cost?
No, they have the money to go to different places. They don't, because they know America's the greatest country in the world. They know it.
Okay.
Appreciate
Nice
you.
to meet you, by the way.
Hey, I'm Luke.
Luke?
Yes,
Like the
Luke.
hat. Good to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to meet you too. So I think incentives are exactly the fundamental problem with capitalism. Is that you say incentives are what make it work, and I think that's the whole issue. Is that the primary incentives are either greed, amass as much personal wealth as you possibly can.
You think that's the problem? It's greed?
Yeah, exactly. And like
you're not greedy at all.
And like you said, survival.
Yeah.
Right. The person working 5 jobs, that they're doing that so they
Sure.
wouldn't want to do that if they didn't need to survive. But that's such a horrible dystopian world to live in. If someone has to work 5 jobs just to survive.
How did they get there? How much of that is on their decision making? How much of that is on their doing? How much of that is on the market where they're not finding ways to improve themselves?
It doesn't matter how much onus is on the individual. We want to create a
Of course
world.
it is.
No.
No.
See,
It is. I hate the thing where we want to reward laziness. We want to reward stupidity. We want to reward people, making terrible choices and having no consequences for said terrible choices. Right? Just like going back in the thing where, let's say, single mothers. You had sex early. You had sex with a man that, has terrible qualities. Probably wouldn't be a good husband. Probably wouldn't be a good father. You didn't think to get married with a man, but you thought it was logical to have kids or even just one child with a man. So now, at a young age, you have a child. Right? You're stupid enough to get a child with a man that's pretty much a shitty man. Can't provide, can't protect, can't do nothing. So now you are burdened with that decision. Now, because you have a child, now it makes you hard for you to get, let's say, finish school. Oh, that's hard. Now, because you probably couldn't finish school, now it's hard for you to get maybe certain kind of job, maybe like nursing jobs or high paying, maybe even the STEM field jobs, because of that stupid decision. So, since you made this stupid decision, but because we should be so fair, or we should not care about letting you suffer from your consequences. Let's just give you a whole bunch of shit. I don't know. It's like, why this? I hate that. I hate lack of accountability. I hate bailing people out of their consequences.
we want to create a
onus
world
is on
in
you.
which people don't have to earn their right to
And
exist, to live.
we live in a country.
That's not earn their right to exist and live. Here's the thing. That is stupid. It's like, this is a thing where, as children, no, you don't have to earn your right to live and exist. But this is the problem. When you become an adult, that is your responsibility. You are an adult, not a child. Now that you are an adult, that is up to you. Children don't have to earn the right to exist and live. They have that right. Adults don't. It's just that I think that's part of what is it? What is it? The food chain? Is it the food chain or circle of life? Or it's nature, right? It's nature. You don't have now. as an adult, you do not have the the luxury of someone providing and protecting for you anymore. So you have to earn the right to live, right? You have to.
Country where majority of the world wants to come here. The most important citizenship country is America.
Right.
People give up their lives to come here. Have you ever lived in another country before?
No, not lived, no.
Why do you think so many want to come here?
I think the people coming here are coming from gang-ridden, corruption-ridden, violence-ridden.
You think that's just all it is? You think I came from a gang-ridden in Iran? I lived there 11 years.
I think the majority of, certainly coming from South America.
Most people come here because what you're doing to me, you're sitting across from me right now.
Right.
Millions of people are going to watch this. In America, you can call me out. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You're free and safe here,
Sure.
right?
Freedom of speech is
You
nothing to
can't
do
do
with
that in
capitalism.
Iran. Of course it is. There's a lot of elements with America. You're talking incentive. The amount of benefits America offers against
Right.
other countries, it's so much higher, where somebody with big dreams, incentives,
Right.
they're willing to come and say, I want to come to America, please let me in. And
Right.
some come and take advantage of it. But to say the individual that's working 3 to 5 jobs, if you do that for a season, if you do that for 2 years, if you do that for 5 years, fine. If you do that for 20, 30 years, you're doing something wrong.
But the point is, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Those are the inalienable rights. We shouldn't have to earn those rights.
You got to pursue happiness. Pursue. It's seriously, it's not given to you. You pursue it.
We shouldn't have to earn the right to
You
health
do
care.
have to earn it.
Earn the right. No,
I
because
actually-
this is just, we just want to live, exist.
I-
We can't work our blood, sweat, and tears just to survive. That's
Yeah.
a horrible dystopian world that we live in right
No,
now.
then what do you think we're here for? To just sit around and play video games?
We're
What do you
here-
think we're here for? To
we're-
sit around and watch TV shows?
We're here
to
to
sit and watch
create.
cat
We're
videos?
here.
What do you think we're put here
We
to
are
do?
here to create a prosperous community to lift
How do you
everyone
create a
up.
prosperous community? How do you create a prosperous community? Matter of fact, for you, how have you positively impacted a community?
I guess volunteering, food banks,
Volunteering
Habitat for
food. I
Humanity.
appreciate you for doing that. Have you created jobs for others?
Created jobs? No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Why
so.
have you not?
I haven't had the ability to do so.
Do you think it's easy or do you think it's hard?
To create jobs is probably hard, yeah.
Okay, so the people that create jobs, you think they should have a little bit of incentive for having risked their life savings, spend time away their families to create jobs so somebody like you can work for that company?
Sure, but that
is
does not,
the incentive.
And bravo for them, but that does not give them the right to pay themselves $2 million bonuses while their workers are scraping by at like $10 an hour.
You don't get to choose how much money I choose to make. That's not your business. That's my business. If you have 4 girlfriends and I have one, is it my business to tell you can't have 4 girlfriends?
I think
if you play 7 hours of Fortnite every day,
right.
and I don't play Fortnite at all, should I tell you you shouldn't be able to play 7 hours of Fortnite a day?
In my view.
Hey, appreciate you.
Absolutely.
This is the thing. I find leftists, Democrats, these woke people, really annoying. That they want to really stick down their ideologies down other people's throats, right? They want to shove their ideologies down other people's throats. When, in all honesty, who are they? What have they accomplished? These are people that all they care about is identity politics. All they care about is, hippie shit, right? I mean, I just find these people fucking annoying.
How are you? What's your name?
Zena.
Zena.
Awesome. So this claim about
This woman, okay, she is a black woman. She's done these debates a few times. She also did whatever podcast debate. Okay, so she is, I guess this is her niche or something. She wants to, she's a leftist, feminist, whatever. She's into these debates. So hopefully, he says something interesting.
incentive is one that we see often promoted by capitalism enjoyers, right? And it's this idea that profit incentives is the only thing that can make humans do things, get up out of bed every day, which has never been the case historically. It's not the case psychologically.
Historically, it's never been the case?
No.
What has been the case?
So we've seen.
What's been the incentive?
The incentive is intrinsic motivation. Passion.
Intrinsic motivation?
Of course. Have you ever heard of intrinsic motivation?
Of course I have. So you
Okay.
think people are going to go just do anything for no incentives?
The incentive is intrinsic, meaning passion, interest, and honing your skills.
Whether you get paid or not.
Well, the problem is that we're forcing people to, need to, work to survive.
So
and
what's the
system.
alternative? So give me another solution, another
May I
economical
finish
system.
talking?
Yeah, actually,
right,
I'm
awesome.
curious.
So yeah, psychological theory of self-determination is widely accepted in psychology. It basically explains that intrinsic motivation and passion is actually what predicts incentive. You're arguing that incentive is integral to profit-driven motivation. That's not true. Extrinsic motivation, at all times, at every single case, is going to, predict less creativity, less motivation, less skill, etc. Intrinsic motivation is what causes things like technological development. Some of the greatest breakthroughs have been from people who are devoted in honing their skill.
So should they get paid for it.
I think that we shouldn't live in a system that privately owns the means of production and forces people in this
What
position.
college did you go to?
USC,
You went to USC. What did you major in?
sociology.
Sociology. Who's your hero as a professor? Who's
Wow,
the professor you look
this
up to?
doesn't seem like a topic
Do you know
that's
why I
related to
asked this question?
capitalism.
The reason why I asked this question is because somebody convinced you of that.
I don't
Somebody
think it's a-
convinced you that
So
is the way
psychology
that
and studies
produces-
convinced me of this fact
Yeah,
about
but,
the human
but
mind.
unfortunately, to your claim,
It is not a fact. Throughout history, right? Money has been a very consistent thing. Okay? Even the notion of trading, right? Bartering has been actually consistent throughout history. Nobody, like, no one's farms, right? Farms to till just for nothing. It's to produce food, right? Produce food. Guess what? When the other person hunts, right? Hunts animals, okay? Bartering system, right? Where you trade vegetables, meat, trade that. Let's say you barters for other goods. It's essentially, right? Still more, I would say, what is it? Toned down or more simplified form of capitalism in a sense. Still, it's humans for, I don't know, the dawn of time, right? When at least when civilization started up, right? Not the nomadic lifestyle, civilization started up, trading, bartering has always been a thing, right? I believe money has also been very old. There's I don't know which one. Maybe Roman or some, just early European countries, I believe. I think even Chinese, right? Chinese are one of the oldest nations in the world. They even use money or some form of money very early, thousands upon thousands of years ago. So no, it is actually a form of capitalism have been very, you know, uh, prevalent, very big throughout history. Okay, it's just a different form of capitalism, right?
results show that the greatest
Results
economical
show that
system
intrinsic
is
motivation predicts more
capitalism
creativity
that allows
and more
people to go
profit
above and
than
beyond
anything
and
like
solve
extrinsic
every
motivation.
single issue out there. An entrepreneur who gets up, who says,
What was your
I'm
claim
gonna
again,
be-
mister?
I'm going to incentive. The
Incentive. What
entrepreneur
about
who has an
incentive?
incentive to go out there and build their lives, and you put
So
no
I'm saying that this
monetary
incentive that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what predicts the best incentive, the best drive, and the best
So what
creativity
do you think about
has been
Elon
proven
Musk?
by
What do you think
psychology.
about Elon Musk?
Can we respond to my claim?
This is about incentive,
All right,
though.
awesome. So you're arguing that incentive is intrinsic and tied to extrinsic motivation. What we find is that the best incentive comes from intrinsic motivation.
So a person that's passionate about solving an issue is going to build something bigger than somebody else that's not.
Yeah, so someone who has a true passion for this.
Yeah, so-
exactly. So profit motivation is not the thing that's driving innovation, right?
Of course it is.
Psychology.
Of course
so
it is.
psychology proves
There-
that that's
if-
not the
if
case.
there's not-
that
if
profit's
there's-
not the reason
if
that we
there's
have
not-
the greatest inventions that we do today.
I don't know if I disagree with the fact that there's a passion behind it. Are you saying people with passion, even if there wasn't the incentive to make as much money as they would make, people would still
That's
pursue
exactly
it
what-
even with or
that's-
without money?
that's what psychology
Well,
says.
your claims are wrong because
not true.
Whoever your psychology professor is,
It's
if
not-
you look at data and you find out how America, that's only been around for 249 years, schooled all the other countries that have been around for hundreds,
Yeah,
if
I'll
not
tell you
thousands of
how.
years
They
more,
schooled all-
they did better
they-
than others because the incentive
because they
was
accumulated
free market
profit,
capitalism.
right, to
That's why.
1% of the population
Not
and
necessarily.
continue to produce
No,
on that
not
basis.
necessarily. It's
Right? We
not-
have this. Okay.
it's
so
not necessarily.
Do we want
When-
to respond because you can say that
You've been
the
interrupting the entire time. So
Yes, you've been interrupted the entire time. Does he even give him a chance to respond?
if you're saying about the 1% are the problem and they're the only ones that make money,
That's
a lot
not
of
what I
people
said.
make money. You said the profit goes to the 1%.
I'm explaining how it is that America has become the dominant power that it is now, right? What we see is that because we have this engine, right, this desire to accumulate profit, we morally justify things like going to other countries, imperializing them, colonizing them, and extracting their resources, right, to funnel our country, right? Social democracy.
I mean, you think on this. Pretty much every inventor, I mean, they profit from their inventions. Okay. Yes, passion is. This is a thing where one of the problems. Let's say what was it? Ah, shit. Fuck, I just forgot it. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot it. Give me a minute. Van Gogh, right? Died a very poor artist, but an amazing artist. I'm pretty sure that he would have lived longer if he actually profited off of his work. Yes, the work he had was amazing, but here's the thing. Um, I believe passion without incentive leads you to an early death, leads you to like honestly a terrible life. Where how could you? This is a thing where let's say people like Tesla or Albert Einstein. Who do you think funds these operations? Who you like? It's not like the poor, okay, that are succeeding in inventions. There is a profit motive in everything, in anything. Um, and honestly, I believe Tesla, you know, because he wasn't profitable in his inventions. I don't think again. I'm not a historian, so I'm not that knowledgeable. But I think he suffered towards the end of his life. I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, right? So that's why I'm saying I I don't believe he got as famous or as wealthy through his inventions. But that shows you that's a detriment.
In the Nordic countries don't do this. So yeah, they might not be the wealthiest power, but they have higher rates of education, literacy, human satisfaction, etc. Right? So it depends on what we actually value in society. Do we value well-being or do we value profit accumulation?
Validates your point. If that's the case, people would move to those states. They don't. When you judge a great restaurant by the amount of people that come in, you can say the food sucks here.
Yeah,
you
so
can say the
there are
service
millions
sucks
of people
here.
that live
But
in
everybody's
Germany.
lined up to want to come here. They're not lined up to go into those
so
countries.
there are
They're just used by professors as theories.
There were millions of people that also lived in Germany in the 1920s.
I lived in Germany before as well, for 2 years.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say
using state-owned enterprises and state centralized planning. They did work with the capitalist system, but they did it, most of it was done through state-funded infrastructure, education, and contributing to strong literacy programs, redistributing the wealth. I think that my other argument would be that there hasn't been an opportunity for alternative systems like socialism to pull enough people out of poverty. So we look at examples.
There hasn't been?
There hasn't been enough opportunities for them to succeed. And so when
Why
we
do you think
say,
that is?
I think that is partly because of the US, and I think because capitalist forces and global market insecurities have sabotaged these attempts to do socialism. So we look at an example in Chile in the 1960s. They elected a democratic socialist, and he proposed literacy reform, wealth redistribution, land reform, and all of that was a threat, obviously, to the United States because McCarthyism was on the rise at the time. And so instead of allowing Allende to have a chance with that, the U.S. Orchestrated a CIA-backed coup to take over and to have a military dictatorship that led the country instead of Allende, who actually was having a lot of success in reducing the poverty rates before the U.S. interfered. And so I think we look at other parts of Latin America, like Venezuela, for instance, and we see the same thing. We see that the U.S. has interfered several times. With Chavez in Venezuela, he was able to reduce the poverty reduction in half in the first decade of him being in office. And he was sabotaged ultimately by the U.S. and by a military dictatorship, so that the people that replaced them were actually.
So may I respond? It's
Sure.
a lot of different cases here. So
Sure.
thank you for that.
Of
So
course.
let's go China first. Okay, so when you say China was able to recover and because they use state-funded, nationalized systems. So in 1978, Xiaoping, the leader of China, went to Japan. He saw what was going on with Japan for 2 decades. Every year their GDP was growing by 15%. The economy was doubling pretty much every 4 years. They go over there, they say, we got to find a way to compete with Japan. How do they have fewer people but they're beating us? They sit down with their leaders after a few drinks. Eventually they say, how did you fix your economy to be growing the way that it is? A capitalistic society that they had in Japan. They asked the question from Xiaoping, the Prime Minister Fukuda, asked the question, how many banks do you guys have in China? He says, we have one bank. He says, it's a nationalized bank? He says, yeah. That's it? Yeah. How many loan officers do you have? Not many. You want to compete with one bank? Yes. He says, if you want to compete with us or others, here's what you have to do. You need 5,000 banks with 35 branches, with 30 loan officers. That's a total of 5.25 million loan officers in a population of 600 million people that are living there. You do that every week. You take 10 applications with these loan officers for small business owners, and you allow the small business owner to compete. They did that. China started competing. By the way, in America in the 1920s, we had around 30,000 banks when we were really, competing in a marketplace. In the 80s, we ended up having around 14,000. Today, we only have 4,100 banks in America. That concept of allowing just one bank to compete, it's not going to work. China takes on the idea from Japan.
If I
they
can
start
interrupt
growing.
you, I think that
they start growing with certain
I think
capitalistic
you're thinking
philosophies.
about this in very capitalist terms, which makes sense. You're a capitalist, but
Because it works. That's the idea. Because it's produced the
You're only thinking about
results.
these scenarios in a situation where market mechanisms are in place, and this is the problem that I have with so many capitalists: is they can't exit their worldview and try to see a world where socialism could be in place because they don't understand the untapped potential of socialism. And I'm a democratic socialist. I think that we need to build forward towards that with reforms. And
Again, why he's using examples that worked. You are using examples that could have worked, right? Or are maybe on the process of working. Well, at the end of the day, right? I'll say this, right? At the end of the day, I'm not discrediting her what she said because I don't really know it. Because so I'm not gonna say what I don't really know. But I do say this. And I agree. America has done a lot of shady shit. I just at the end of the day, you know, one of the things that capitalism is a big thing, but I do think that we do live in a pecking order kind of society where the strong will survive, right? So it sometimes is like that's part of the naivete where
I think we need to work with the government. I don't think that we should abandon the state. I also don't think that we should give state elites the complete control over society. I do think that we should work with the state to instill these reforms and then eventually erode
But
capitalism.
unfortunately, socialism has had hundreds of
But you're
years
thinking in terms of
to produce
competition.
results, and it hasn't worked. Do you know why it doesn't work, though?
It's been sabotaged.
It's been sabotaged, or it's because it forces people to do something they don't want to do?
Does capitalism not do the same?
No, capitalism gives
there's
you the-
7 million people in this
capitalism
country
allows
who
you
have to
to
work
choose.
multiple jobs just to get
I
by.
have to work multiple jobs
They're
for a season.
forced to do
Yeah.
that because either they do that or they starve. So if the options are to work or to starve,
but
that's not freedom, that's economic coercion.
you don't have to you don't have to work multiple jobs or you starve. Plenty of people work one job and don't starve. It's such an idiotic view.
Respectfully, if you do that for a period of your life, I understand it. If you're doing that for 30 years, you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't be working multiple jobs for the rest of your life.
So, first of all, I'm not going to argue with this moral argument. I think that people who live in poverty, especially when we look at how many people live in poverty in this country, and also it depends on how you define the poverty line, but there's 40 million Americans who live below the poverty line in this country. There's 3 guys in this country that own 40% of the wealth. How does that work in a country that is
You really
built
want to go
on-
there? You want
Sure.
to go there? Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk about it. So when we talk about the rich people at the top, okay, and you say, well, the rich don't pay enough taxes. Do you know what the bottom 50% of taxpayers in America pay towards the revenue that the government gets in taxes? Do you know what the bottom 50% pays?
Tell me.
2% of taxes. Do you know what the top 1% pays?
There's been several years
Do you know
that
what the
they've
top
paid
1%?
nothing.
Do you
They've
know?
paid nothing
No,
in
no,
their
hang on a
federal
second.
taxes.
This is from the IRS. I'm not writing a blog from Huffington Post. This is not Daily Beast. I'm telling you the story. The top
I'll say
1%
this.
pays 42%
I'll say this: the
of
top
all
1%
tax
is
revenue.
about to pay a lot less in taxes because of the provision
They'll
that just went
actually
into
end up paying
Trump's,
even
your
more
guys'
revenue to the
big
government.
beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Because imagine this, right? If we get rid of millionaires and billionaires, you think regular citizens will make up for it through what? It's like, to be honest, regular citizens, right? Average citizens make a lot of stupid choices in life. They make a lot of stupid choices in life.
That was fast.
Hi, I'm Anne.
Anne, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I do want to address part of the claim about poverty, but I also want to address.
Oh, this new claim, I must have skipped it. Capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system.
What you brought up about like paying taxes. So you said the top 1% pays a large amount of taxes. The problem is that the bottom 2 quintiles can't pay taxes because they quite literally have no wealth. Do you understand that? Like the bottom quintile of the United States doesn't have any wealth. In fact, they're in debt, so they have literally like negative wealth.
Why do you think that is?
I think that's for a lot of reasons. I think that's because workers have been exploited. I think that they haven't had the opportunity to gain social mobility
Why do you think that is?
because of exploitation.
You think they're being exploited?
Yes.
Oh,
of course.
so people are being forced to work at companies. They don't have a choice.
I didn't say that they were.
So people
well,
are
if
being-
they are being forced. If the other option is starve or die.
What job do you have right now? What do you do for a living?
I do work from home stuff. I don't want
Okay,
to disclose
so
that.
so you chose to do that, right? That's your choice. Great. If somebody works at Starbucks as a barista, it's their choice. If somebody has a job that they're working, it's their choice. If somebody is not utilizing their time properly and accordingly, of course the market's
Choice
not going to
how?
pay you
Do you
more.
think that like they brought up single mothers earlier? Do you think that single mothers are sitting around playing Fortnite 15 hours?
But they chose to be a fucking single mother. I mean, yes, I'm 100% on the side that if you are a single mother, you chose it. How? Why? Right? Because the man you chose led you to the life that you have now. Right? The man you chose to not get married to him before, have a kid with him. You chose that this man was acceptable, would be a good father. You chose it. So it is 100% a choice. Stop it with the taking away accountability from people. Absolutely disgusting.
Hours a day?
Fortunately, single mothers were manipulated on what happened.
Is that a yes or no?
Single mothers were manipulated by what Lyndon Johnson came out where they changed the benefits on giving single mothers the incentive to have kids on all the welfare program. That changed our system in a major way. The feminist movement got single mothers to believe they don't need men and they're going to do everything by themselves and they don't need a man to help them out. This division that's happened between us caused many people to be in the situation that they're
most
at.
households are 50-50. They're closer to 50-50 today, so it has nothing to do with feminism.
Not
Feminism
necessarily.
didn't just like convince women because they're too stupid to think for
Feminism was one of the
themselves.
worst things that happened in America because it pinned men against women.
Do you think that women are so stupid that they've been
I don't.
brainwashed? Okay, so you don't think that they've just fallen into this feminist propaganda? You don't think they're
You don't have to be stupid, right, to fall for propaganda. You don't. I mean, seriously, it's just, you just have to listen to something that, you know what, for you feels like it makes sense.
idiots?
No, I don't think that, but I do think people can be manipulated
but they're
and
not
brainwashed.
stupid enough to do that because the majority of people are splitting
there are so
nearly
many
towards
people that bought
50-50.
into a philosophy that stole decades away from their lives, their lives, because they bought into an idea that didn't produce the results.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about capitalism is the best economical system that provides the best results for people.
But we can't just jump back and forth between claim to claim to claim. So the claim about feminism brainwashing people into being single mothers, how does that
I
work?
didn't. I said feminists originally brainwashed women to believe men are the enemy. That led to where we are today. Last week report came in.
Single mothers?
Yes, in many cases because they don't need men.
Do you have evidence for that?
100%.
You really think a single mother wants to be a single mother?
Absolutely, we have evidence of that.
You think the single mother making minimum wage down the road, like working for some grocery store, having to take care of all of her children, is just like, I just don't need a man. I just want to be independent. I live in abject poverty to be independent.
You asked him, does he have evidence? And then you just kept talking. It's like fucking ridiculous. Stop talking.
Percentage of the U.S. revenue that we get in, you think we use for entitlement programs? What percentage?
I don't remember the exact
What do you think the
percentage.
number is? So we bring in
But it's far
$4.9
less
trillion.
than what we do in private spending.
We bring $4.9 trillion in, okay? The U.S. revenue comes in. What percentage do you think goes to entitlement programs?
I don't know.
What do you think is a reasonable number?
Well, what you're calling entitlement programs, I'm actually not sure what you mean by that.
I'm talking about Social Security. I'm talking about
so social
Section
welfare.
8. I'm talking about any of these.
It's much less than other OECD countries.
What percentage do you think
I don't
it is?
remember the exact percentage, but
I
it's
want
much
you to
less than
guess.
other
What do you
OECD
think
countries.
it is? You think
We
it's
are
10%,
far behind.
20%, 30%? What do you think the number is?
No, but it's relatively low compared to
Well,
other
what do
OECD
you
countries.
think it is? Can you guess the number?
I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I've already said that.
68%. How much more entitlement?
68%. Can we fact check that?
You can fact check that.
Okay.
Please do so.
Please.
60%. Okay, he's off by 8%. Not drastic. In 2024, 60% of federal spending went toward entitlements, including Social Security, Medicaid, federal pensions. The government spent $4.1 trillion on these programs and brought in $4.9 trillion in revenue, totaling 83%.
68% goes to entitlement programs.
Of our federal budget?
No, of the revenue that comes in, 68%.
So the capita GDP.
Not GDP. You're confusing the two different things here. Actual tax revenue that we get.
Okay, so tax revenue.
68%
Okay, now
of it
we're
goes
specific.
towards entitlement programs. 68%. Thank you.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Grace?
Yes, Grace.
Good to meet
Hi.
you.
I want to say that I think it's pretty comical that an elite such as yourself has the goal to tell us average Americans who's in poverty and who's not. A lot of
I
times.
was an average American.
Do you know how to read stats? You can tell who's in poverty or not by reading stats. You don't have to be a millionaire or billionaire to be able to read stats. I find this so
You're not
I was a guy
anymore.
that was in poverty.
You're not anymore.
And you can also
you're
change.
Very,
You can also change.
Anyways,
Do you believe
you're
you can
talking down.
change?
A lot of times that the market for poverty is actually very low. So a lot of times, like $2 a day is the line for how they measure poverty.
$2.15, yeah.
And that's ridiculous. So if I make $5 a day,
Yeah.
I'm not in
But that's
poverty.
because
I
it's
can,
around
I can
the world,
actually
not
live.
in
I can pay
America.
the rent.
Sure.
But we're talking about this country, right? We're not talking about around the world. I've noticed that you like to do that. You like to like skirt from America and talk about other
Yeah, actually,
countries
I've been
to try
saying
to make
multiple
it look like
times,
we're better, but we're
America's
actually
the
getting
greatest
worse.
country in the world.
Anyways, it's the greatest country.
Hands
We're
down,
at
it's
the,
not
we
even
are at the
close.
highest that we've ever been with homelessness since we started collecting
Why is
data.
that? Ask you. Are you from
because
California?
we haven't had a pay
Are you
raise
from
since
California?
2009.
Do you live?
The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. 30 states have a higher minimum wage. The U.S. has the highest poverty rate among the world's 26 most developed nations, according to the Organizations of Economic Cooperation and Development. We have the highest rate of poverty, huh? That is shitty. I wouldn't disagree with that. That is shitty. We have the highest. You know, I've said that I do love America, but it doesn't discount that we do have a lot of problems. And since right, this is a thing where I said this before. Yes, we do have a lot of problems. This is why, in my honest opinion, I don't care about the illegal immigrants issue. I don't. Deport them. I don't give a shit. I don't care about fucking Middle East shit. I don't give a shit about Ukraine. I don't give a shit about Russia. I don't care if Russia is invading Ukraine. I don't give a shit. Go for it. I don't care if whatever happening in the Middle East, Israel, Pakistan, I don't give a shit. What they do should be fucking what they do. We need to be worrying about our own nation. We need to be worrying about our own country. There are people, right? How can we be as great as we are, but have the highest poverty rate among 26 most developed nations? How? We should not be spending money on any foreign aid. We should not be caring about illegal immigrants, right? We should not be, there should be very negligible illegal immigration here, right? Our Americans first, right? Citizens first. We should be caring about our citizens first. How can there be any people, right, that are struggling? There shouldn't, or it should be very negligible. We shouldn't be, at the top of 26 developed countries. We should be at the bottom, right? Or, I mean, we shouldn't, at the worst, right? We should be one of the best. This is why I don't give a shit where these kids protest these other crap. Our country, right, needs to focus on our country. We need to be focusing on our citizens. We need to be doing things that benefit our country, our nation. We shouldn't be caring what happens to other countries, not before what happens to us.
Our minimum wage nationally is $7.25.
Okay.
And you wonder why we have the highest poverty rate. You think that capitalism's winning? Can you survive? Would you like to live off $7.25
I used
an
to
hour?
work for $4.25 at Haagen-Dazs.
Right.
Then I
And that
went
was
and
a
worked
very
at
different time.
Burger King for $4.75.
And how much do you make
Then
now?
I make millions today. Then
Right,
I
and
worked
that's
at
why you
Bob's
like
Big Boy.
capitalism, because we're not
No,
all making
but
that.
the
And that's my
difference
point.
is, but
A
the difference
millionaire-
You can. You can't blame someone from, making it work while you couldn't make it work. It's the absolute idiocy of it. I think, right, one of the biggest problems we're having, okay, is that so many people lack financial education. So many. It irritates me every day that we lack financial education. It really does. We have so many Americans do not understand saving, do not understand budgeting, do not even understand investing. I don't know. It really, I think about that a lot, right? Because I think that's one of the biggest detriment, right? The biggest detriment in our society is the lack of financial education. I don't know. I don't really know.
Is critiquing the people in poverty and saying you should work harder. You should work. You can be lean. We can't all be you.
My hope is that you believe you can change and improve. That you believe you can upgrade yourself. That's my
It's
belief.
very. You know what? That's what rich people like you want to keep telling us.
But
You can be
the
just like
difference-
me. Do you want to be like me? If you were.
I'm not rich, and I would say the same things to you. I'm not rich, right? I said this before. I make about 40K a year. 40. Right? The average man makes about 50. I'm less than average. But my net worth is 6 figures. Nothing special, but I will tell you that you could make it if you actually fucking try.
Hard enough
I'm
you
not
can
saying
be like
that.
me. It's not very
It's
realistic.
actually you wouldn't be able to be like me because
You're
you wouldn't work
talking
that
down to
hard.
people like
Would you
us.
work that hard?
You don't.
Would
I'm not going to tell you. I don't have to answer that.
If you don't
I don't
choose
have to measure I don't have to measure my work ethic to be worthy.
You don't have to. Then you can't be upset for others who do so. You
I
can't
can't
be
be
upset.
upset for people who are
No,
struggling.
because they work
and that's
harder
what's wrong
than
with
you.
capitalism. Because
But
you
go back
think
to the
that
homelessness.
You have to work so
Do you
hard.
live in the state of California?
I do.
Okay, you said homelessness.
Yes.
What do you think about your Governor Newsom? What do you think about him?
I don't like him. I'm a
Okay.
progressive. He doesn't do enough for the people.
Do you know when he was
he takes corporate money.
fantastic?
He takes money from people like
when
you.
he was,
he's not
I've
for the
never given
people.
him money. But do you know when he first
Oh,
became
that's
a
not a
governor?
surprise, but a
I
lot
would
of people
never
like
give
you
him
have.
money. But when he
Who hasn't
became a
given
governor
money?
first, from then till today, he's raised the amount of homelessness in this state by 36,000 people.
Okay, you know, I don't
he
like the
was
guy, but
given
he's not at fault for
24
homelessness.
billion
People like you are. Billionaires like you are the
Taxpayers
are the
gave him
problem.
24 billion. Taxpayers
I believe it. I
gave
don't
him
like that guy.
$24 billion, and he didn't do nothing with it. And
Vote
it
him out.
increased.
Vote him out.
You
He's
vote
just
him
like
out. You
you.
have him. It's not that.
That's what I'm
it's,
saying. I'm
but
not
no, I
here
would
to
tell
defend
you.
Newsom.
You can
but
go.
you're not much different than him. That's all I'm saying. You're in the same class.
But you're sitting here blaming a person who's changed their lives for the better, and it's their fault. My dad was.
This is not the United States of Patrick Bet David.
Do you know
this
where?
is the United States of America.
I know, and I'm
all
so
of our
grateful to
people.
be here. I'm
And you
so
say
grateful
that,
to
but are
be
you
here.
willing to pay more
I
taxes
am
so that
so
other people don't
grateful to
suffer?
be here.
Are you willing to pay more
I
taxes
am
so
so
other people don't
grateful
suffer?
to be here.
I see you're
My-
starting.
The fuck is, this is why I can't stand this shit, right? This is why it's hard to watch it, because honestly, you're not really having an honest conversation, an honest debate. No, all you're doing is just one side argument, right? One side is like, I would have, like, if I was here, I was like, fine, just go ahead, keep talking, right? You don't want to listen to anything, right? You don't want to listen. You don't want to have a conversation. All you want to do is just yell, right? All you want to do is just yell and shoot whatever you want to say. Go for it, right? Just talk, right? Because it's really pointless to have a conversation with you.
My dad was a cashier in Inglewood at a 99-cent store.
That's
we
great.
had nothing. No, I don't tell you that's great. We had nothing.
Well, I know
I'm the
where this
guy
is
that had
going.
I'm the guy that had a.
The propaganda that you
but
guys
what
say,
you
you can
don't
be like
what
me
you don't want to hear is
under
that because it's the
capitalism.
truth.
We
Can I ask you a
cannot all be
question?
like you.
When's the last time you read a business book? When's the last time you read a self-help book?
I don't need to answer that.
When's the last time you read a
I
self-help?
wrote a self-help book.
Tell me
I'm a
about-
writer. I'm a creative.
Tell me what
and I
self-help
also-
book you read.
I'm not.
Give
I
me
don't
one.
need to.
Give me one you read. Are you willing to take one recommendation?
No.
You're not.
Not for
Then
me.
I can't help you.
That's okay. I don't need your help. I didn't come here for your
great.
help. I
You've
came
been
here to
flagged
debate
out.
you. Good.
Awesome.
How's it going, man?
What's your name?
Armin.
Armin?
Yep, Armin Crow. When you said capitalism is the best form of economic organization the world has ever seen, it made me think of a very particular picture from history. So I don't know if you know this, it's a little history lesson. In 1900, King Leopold II of Belgium determined that the entire land of the Democratic Republic of the Congo was his personal property. And within 10 years, capitalists came out, they exploited all the land, extracted trillions of dollars of resources, 15 million Congolese died. For reference, the Holocaust killed 6 million people. And the most famous picture from that time in history is a rubber worker staring at the
The fact was, King Leopold II seized the Congo as his private property in 1885 and forced residents to harvest rubber. His men murdered and mutilated villagers. The exact death toll is unknown, but estimates show population was cut in half to 10 million. I wouldn't blame capitalism on that, right? This is okay. To this is a thing where I find it. This is the same argument that a lot of leftists use, right? They blame guns for the death of people. Okay, blame guns instead of, you know what? It's not the gun, because if you just leave a gun there, okay, there are places in the UK that people are getting stabbed to death. Knives, kitchen knives. You don't. Yes, a gun is more efficient, but again, throughout human history, people, if they wanted to kill, they would kill. They didn't need a gun to do it. They made a gun to be more efficient, make it easier, but gun does not necessarily equal, oh, that is the gun itself. We constantly neglect the human factor, right? Because we're taking away accountability again. We are constantly taking away accountability. We neglect the human factor. It is that person who picked up that gun, who loaded that gun, who chose to shoot that gun. That person, right? It is this king that chose to be so fucking greedy, went to another nation and conquered it, or seized it, and destroyed and mutilated its citizens. Yet you blame capitalism for it, not blaming the person. Taking away accountability from such an evil person. You want to blame a system. This is a thing where even if the system was gone, capitalism, you'd think a king wouldn't still be greedy? I mean, there have been kings, emperors, and leaders throughout history. Capitalism was a modern day invention, right? A modern day ideology. So it's like fucking.
Disembodied hands of his 8-year-old daughter because he didn't hit his rubber quota. I'm willing to bet that man worked harder to hit that rubber quota than anything you've ever worked for in your entire life. And I think when you say this is the best system that's ever been created, to me, that's the result. That's what happens when there's no rules.
It's devastating when you hear stories like that. I don't disagree with you. They had it hard. They worked very hard, and they had risk on the line. Many times it was their lives that was on the line. And you see that in many different places when you go back and study history. That's why today in America, that can't happen. In America, you have a choice to do what you want to do with your life. When we go back and look at those stories, we can go to see what communism did. How many lives were killed because of communism control? You don't need to go through that number. You hear the numbers between 60 to 100 million. We can go that route. But if you're talking about which provided the best economical system today, you judge it by how many want to go live somewhere that gives you that opportunity, and that is America.
Do you know why kids can't work in America?
Why kids can't work in America?
Why there's child labor laws.
Yeah, because of child labor laws.
It was labor unions. They were getting shot at by police officers to fight for the weekend, to fight for the 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
Another good example is the 1908 mill children's strike. It was thousands of kids who were working 80-hour work weeks, striking so they would only have to work 50 a week. That's what happens when there's no rules, right? And then the government had to come in and say, you can't employ children. So I think capitalism...
No, you want to blame no rules on capitalism? What? You want to blame... Again, this man is... This boy is using terrible people, terrible situations to make it... This is the result of capitalism. Is it? Right? Is it the result of capitalism? Or it's just the result of people being greedy? I don't necessarily think capitalism creates greedy people. Because here's the thing. Throughout history, okay? Throughout history, there have been plenty of people greedy. Plenty. And it wasn't even in a capitalistic country. You think about this, North Korea, right? I'm pretty sure their emperor, their president, is very greedy. Right? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he hoards resources. Definitely not a capitalistic country. Capitalism, right, does not necessarily, or in reality, create greedy people, right? It doesn't. It creates a certain kind of dynamic. But it's not, greed has always been within people. No matter the type of system you go about, no matter what type, there's always been greedy people.
Disagree here with that. I don't think we're sitting here talking about child labor. Are you hearing me talking about capitalism is the best system because it provides child labor in America?
I'm saying that capitalism, there's no guardrails inherently. The government has to come in. People have to go and organize. And I think what you've seen for the past 50 years under neoliberal politics is that's slowly being chipped away. All the good things of the New Deal, like Social Security, the 40-hour work week.
I do think you need law and order, but also at times, you know, the amount of rules you put in place can prevent incentives. Right now, if you think about drones, warfare is changing, okay? And 70 to 80% of all drones that are being built today are being built by a company called DJI in China. Ukraine was building 1,000 drones a day at $500 and going and hitting $5 million equipment of Russia, destroying them. 68% of their attacks was from drones. When you come to America, look at us, we're at 1 to 2% at the top. Let me explain my point to you here. Part of it is overregulation. Overregulation, FAA laws, this laws, that laws. So 500 startups that got into the drone business, they walked away because it's overregulation. Many cases, when you say, I want to put this rule in place, great, another person, no, I want to go this much. No, I want to go this much. No, I want to go this much. It eventually gets to the point that it chokes the innovator, and that's also not good.
I would disagree. I think regulation is the reason why there's no lead in our gas. You were talking about incentives. The only incentive that really matters to a good capitalist is
again, no one's... You got to understand... I mean, these debates are so quick, so it's hard for people to process. He's not saying no regulation. He's saying over regulation, okay? When you're pushing it to the far extreme where it's really tight, yes, it makes things harder. Now, no one's saying don't regulate. So, you know, I think that's really, you're not listening right.
Profit. It is profitable to put lead in the gas, and it doesn't matter if it lowers the IQs of kids living nearby by
someone's
15
convinced
points.
you. Unfortunately, someone's convinced you at a young age that these capitalists are bad people.
Well, then
that they're
why are they
terrible
fighting
human
against?
beings.
Why are they fighting against taking lead out of their gas?
Think about it this way. You know, the main thing. I don't know if you know Michael Burry. You ever seen the movie Big Short?
Yeah,
you know, at the end of the movie where it says Michael Burry now is focused on water because he thinks water is the future gold or whatever he calls it, right?
Sure.
Okay. Go to the company that's Coca-Cola, that sells Coke, and how much criticism have you had over the years with Coke, right?
I think Nestle's had a lot of criticism because they don't think water is a human right for the.
That's a different conversation. If I may finish the point, one thing with Coca-Cola is the following. Do you know even Coke got to a point that they realized in order for Coca-Cola to be around 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they went and invested billions of dollars to fix the water issue around the world. They're trying to get cleaner water. Capitalists eventually get forced to take care of the person because having lead in the water is just not a good policy long term.
Okay.
Surrounded is now a podcast.
If we divided all the wealth equally in like 5 years, how would you propose we divide the wealth in that way? In this thought experiment, again, if we're going to give it a
Oh God, this is immense, free hippie looking guy, so yeah, definitely going to be annoying.
serious
Right.
look, I want to understand, how would you propose that happen?
I hope you realize this is just a...
Oh, the new claim: if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets in 5 years.
question we're asking everybody, right? But if you take all the wealth, which is around $500 trillion, okay, give or take, you divide it by 8 billion people, it would be around $62,500 each.
Okay, according to UBS, global personal wealth hit 471 trillion in 2024. According to the World Bank, of the population is 8.14 billion. Okay, that comes out to $58,000 per person. Do you think people could survive on that? I mean, yeah, 58,000. Okay.
Within 5 years, the people that don't know how to handle money themselves, they would lose it all. And within 5 years, the same wealthy would get the same amount of money.
As someone who certainly doesn't make that much money, I'm willing to take that as a gamble just for fun.
Right,
I'll be
sure.
honest, but
Yeah.
at the same time,
Take a gamble just for fun? What the fuck is wrong with you?
like, okay, so you're just now claiming that people who don't have wealth don't know how to manage it. And that's fair because a lot of them have never had it before. So what do we do to basically...
This is a thing where you don't have to have it to know how to manage it. You have to have the desire. You have to have the desire to want to manage it and to want to gain it. People have the desire to gain it, right? People have the desire to gain it. People don't have the desire to manage it, right? Or they don't have the desire. What do I say? Not they have the desire to gain it. They don't have the mindset and discipline to gain it.
ensure that people like myself who are currently, thank you to the United States, thank you to the state of California for giving me medical insurance to get blood work, for giving me food stamps so I can have food. I've applied to I don't know how many hundreds of jobs. I can show you the receipts. I can show you the email confirmations. Like, I am trying my best to use my values with the freedom that we have
So if
here.
I give you a job, you would work 40 hours a week?
If the job is in alignment with something that's noble and good, I think I...
What the fuck? No wonder why. You know, you apply to so many jobs and you don't get it. Who wants you as a worker? It's like, this is a thing where you think that, okay, oh, the homeless man, oh, he applied to so many jobs yet no one wanted him. Yeah, do you understand why? No one's desiring a homeless man in the street to work their job because obviously he doesn't have the work ethic for said jobs. You don't have the mindset, probably don't have the work ethic for said jobs as well, right? It's like the audacity, the entitlement. I was like, if the job's aligned with my morality, it's like, we have created such an entitled generation. Okay, honestly, we have created a entitled party, right? An entitled party, entitled group of people. The left, the Democrats, Ugh.
I could. The issue is, and again, you may say that this is a personal weakness, but like right now, substitute teaching, tutoring, trying to help in that way is making it so that I'm able to scratch by.
Yeah.
But without the supplemental income and the help from the society of people who make more money, I'm going to not have enough
if I may,
food.
I want to address something which you made a point that I agree with on why don't some people create wealth. In my family, when I was growing up, and I was telling this young lady over here, when my dad was a cashier at a 99-cent store, we've never owned an insurance policy before. My parents, we've never owned a house before. I've never lived in an apartment with a swimming pool before. We've never had a 401k stock mutual fund, none of that stuff. I had no clue how money worked. So for me, when I got out of the Army with a 1.8 GPA, out of high school, I went straight to the Army because I didn't know how money works. If you look at our system today, in high school, we learn about a lot of different things. They don't teach us about taxes, finances, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Colleges don't even teach a lot of that right now. So
Do you work
come
in
out.
a high school?
Did I work
Do
at
you,
a high
have
school?
you have you have experience like me, someone who's essentially on those front lines working in?
I've worked with many high school teachers and the directors of psychology to talk to the youth. Yes,
So
I have.
right now, I'm in a position where I have options, like you said. I do have some options, but they seem to be somewhat destructive and exploitative of me.
How can you complain about anything? How can you complain about anything? I was like, oh, you know what? Money is destructive and exploitative, but you know what? I need money. What the fuck is wrong with you? How about live in the forest, right? Live in the forest with your hippie self. I swear to God, this is the shit that's like irksome. Okay? You can go live in a commune or in the woods where you are away from society. Where, to be honest, I think if you could, you probably won't be shackled to the rules of society. If you live, as a hermit, in the woods, and I don't think they would, search for you to tax you, right? So I wouldn't think so. A lot of these people can't. A lot of these people won't. Absolutely, it's just tiring.
Me of my peers. So I'm
I
trying
think
to
you're too
discriminate.
selective for jobs right now. You don't have the ability to be selective at this stage.
Well, but the thing
you
is,
really
I do
wanna make
because I'm
some-
instilled with a freedom that is maybe God universe given, and I don't actually have
Yeah.
to because of the system. Like you said, I don't have to play along with some corrupt game. So I gave up
I think California
a
is
career.
perfect for someone like you.
Well, thankfully,
Yeah, I think it
California
is.
agrees. But
Yep.
you mentioned earlier in a previous discussion that we have free speech, we can say what we want.
Right.
But the thing is, have you been punched on the train for how you look and how you share your ideas?
Do I look like an American to you? Do you see this nose?
No, I'm just asking,
I'm Middle
has-
Eastern. You know what's happened to this guy? You know what's happened to me when I was discriminated
do you
all over
really
the place?
feel like that's free speech
no,
if you're being
but I don't mind
punished
it. I don't.
by people who have prejudice
I
against
don't
you?
mind it because I understand there is risk that you may be disrespected. There, like here, I've been disrespected here many times. I've been offended here many times. A lot of you are coming here finding a way to attack me, tell different stories. I'm okay with
don't
that.
wanna
That's-
attack you.
You're being very respectful. I'm not talking about you. But what I'm saying to you is, when you say, "Have you ever been punched in the face on a bus?" You don't want to hear about what things has happened to me because of the way I look.
Because I feel
but
like
I don't want to use
you've
that.
been through a lot of trauma
I don't
in your
wanna-
life,
but what I-
and now you're kind of clinging to things.
I'm
that
not. What I do.
The fucking hippie mentality is like, shut the fuck up. I swear to God, these people are just annoying.
I want to do that. I have my son is sitting right here, my 13-year-old son, my 4 year. I have 4 kids. I bring them everywhere. I want them to see that it's okay. People are going to disagree with you. You
I
have to
am
be
with
comfortable with
13-year-olds
this.
all the time.
You are with 13.
Oh God, please don't. This guy is a teacher. This guy is unbelievable. I swear to God, what is wrong with our? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things wrong with our. This is the thing where we are so free, right? We are so free, and this is the shit we allow. It is what it is, right? So you have the entitlement, the audacity to complain about a country like this, right? About a nation like this. Because men like this would be stamped out in any other, let's say the communist countries, let's say socialist countries. Men like this would be stamped out. But hey, you have the audacity, the entitlement to be in a country that you are free to be what you are, right? And then complain about the said country.
Year-olds all the time?
Because of my job, because I'm a substitute teacher and a tutor. The thing is,
Got it.
you
I
can
got it.
imply
Yeah.
many different things,
Got
and
it.
that is your right. But what I'm saying is right now,
Yeah.
I care deeply about having a good experience. The incentive that I feel is for peace and prosperity.
I respect it.
And again, I'm using my freedom now, but the
I
issue is
respect
you're
it.
saying we have all these options, but whenever I tour
You
the
do,
globe,
but
I
you-
see franchises that have monopolized pretty much everywhere.
Sure.
So when you talk about options, it's really, there's these select few people who have this infrastructure that's really benefiting them more than others, and without some sort of conscious, spiritual, moral awakening, what can we do except for beg and appeal and
Well, no,
amass?
you can't be too selective. At
Well,
the
but you-
beginning,
again,
when I worked at
don't like that
Haagen-Dazs, I
word,
couldn't be too
can't, because you're
selective for a
saying
job.
I can't whenever I can.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice.
Appreciate you for being respectful.
I'm glad y'all tripped over each other because I did too. How's it going? James.
What's your name? James.
So one of the things that you have stated is that we have options. Okay. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I come from a divorced family, and we lived below the poverty level from the time that I was born until now, frankly. So I'm one of those people that you're talking about that isn't pulling themselves up by their bootstraps enough. Which, like, I didn't have boots to begin with, and like, I don't know if you've ever had boots, but like, legs are load-bearing structures.
I relate.
And like, you can't really pull up a boot when you're wearing it, you know? So
Why are you so stupid? Come on.
So where exactly am I failing when I am working 80 hours a week? I am taking the only jobs that will hire me. I have put in 477 applications over the last 2.5 years. Not even gotten a call back once.
Why do you think?
You tell me. You're a job creator.
But I don't know your resume. You know your life better than I do. Why do you think you have not gotten a call back on 477?
Because
a lot
I
of
do
people
not
get
have a degree.
callbacks. Okay.
Because I do not have a degree,
I
because I
don't
could
either.
not afford one.
Okay.
I live in an area where the physical job market is very limiting.
Where do you live?
I live in rural Texas.
Okay.
So in that, like in the town that I grew up in, for instance, there are 8 jobs, period.
Does your family live there? Mom, dad, everybody's in that same city?
Everybody was at one point.
Okay.
Most of them are dead now.
Okay, sorry to hear.
It is what it is. It's poverty. You know, we're kind of used to that on this side.
Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like the way you
That's one thing. I hate the victimhood shit. I hate the fucking victimhood shit. I really do. Because then it's just like when people have victimhood mentality, right? That's when they take no accountability. No accountability. When you have a victimhood mentality, you blame the abusers, right? You make everyone else the abuser, the villain, right? Everyone else is the villain. You are the victim of said villain, right? The world, right? The world is your villain while you are the abuser, the victim, right? So because you feel like you're the victim, you don't feel like, why I don't need to make changes. It's not because I don't make changes. It's because, you know what? Whatever I do, the world will push me down. It's always the world. It's always someone else, right? Putting me down. So it's not my fault. I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm a victim. I didn't do nothing wrong. This is the thing we constantly say, oh, why do you victim blame? Right? Because you don't want to say the victim did anything wrong. And that is why people constantly try to be victims. You can't blame the victim, right? You can't blame the victim. You can't blame the victim for whatever happened to them. And that mentality will always keep you fucking down. It will always keep you at the bottom because you can't do better, right? You can't do anything to change it.
speak like, you're the victim where all this happened to you?
Because I exist and things happen to
Well, why do
you,
you see
and
yourself
as
as a
such,
victim?
things happen, and that's why I say that they happen
You're
to
a
me.
good-looking guy. Why do you
Thanks.
think you're a victim? Why do you think you're somebody that's got into a situation because it's not fair what happened to me? Let me give you a couple options.
Sure.
Are you open to leaving the city you're in?
I've already left it.
So what city?
I've left multiple cities.
So if somebody else gave you a job in a different place, you'd be willing
100%.
to move there?
100%.
Okay. On your resume.
It says
what,
that.
What do you have on your resume? Skill set. What do you offer?
Transportation expertise, logistics expertise.
You consider yourself a hard worker?
I mean,
Probably an Uber driver.
I feel
You
like
said
80 hours a week.
That's a
something like
hard
that.
worker.
Sure.
How about we do this? How about I interview you and I give you a job? Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Ooh, man, that's Florida. Sure, why not?
Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Sure, why not?
How about you and I document this? After this, you come, I do an interview with you, and I give you a job. And let's see what you do 90 days later.
Okay, and I'll look up your company and all that kind of stuff, and I'll see it.
But you
like,
see what just happened
regardless,
right there? But
Mike,
watch what you just did.
Well, this is the thing. With that, you would think that, you know what? 400 jobs said no to you. You'd be desperate for a job, right? You'll be eager for a job. But it's like, just like the other person. Oh, like, I'll look you up. No, you don't need to look me up. Just do an interview, right? Do the interview, take the job. That's it. But you see, this is the thing where you're trying to make it. You're trying to make it difficult. What's the point of looking it up? Right? What's the point of looking it up? You're going to get the interview. He said he's going to give you a job. Right? The interview is probably just, I don't know, formalities. But he said, I'm going to give you a job. Like, I'll look you up. So, again, just like the fucking hippie, right? Just like the hippie. So you apply to all these jobs, but you know what? Their morality might not line with me. Then what the hell is wrong? Then you have nothing to complain about.
Sure.
You just said you applied to 477 companies who's not gone back to you.
Yeah.
A business owner who's hiring aggressively just made an offer to you. You said you're willing to move. Then you said, I'll look at it. You became selective.
I didn't
You
say I'll look at it if you'd let me
yourself.
finish my sentence.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I would like to look into your company to see exactly what you guys do.
You would like to?
Because I don't know what you guys do.
What does it matter? If you get hired, you get hired. I'm like, listen, the thing. If you get hired as a driver, right? Who cares?
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, I may be wasting my time going. If you guys are a finance company, if you guys are a bank or something like that, I don't have the certifications, I don't have the degrees. So even interviewing me would be a moot
What if I
point.
gave you a job, period, to work 80 hours a week? Would you take it? And I paid you a reasonable wage.
Are we talking a livable wage or a reasonable wage?
What do you
And
make
whose
right
version
now?
of reasonable are we
What do you
talking
make
about?
right
Your
now?
version of reasonable or my version of
But you
reasonable?
see, so now for me, what I'm noticing from you is
I need specifics?
No, not necessarily. No, most of the people I hire need specifics. The difference is I'm trying to hire them. In this instance, you're trying to get a job and you're being selective. It's going to work against
I mean,
you.
I'm not trying to get a job. Originally, I was
My
trying to
offer is
ask you
off
where
the
the
table.
moral failing.
My offer is off the table
Okay, that's
because
fine.
you're going to be difficult to work with.
Okay, sure. But my question was, where is my moral failing? Like, where is it that you are saying that I am not working hard enough and I am not doing
I just
enough?
experienced it right now because
It's the desire. This is a thing where the problem right here. I just told you about my my friend. Okay, he makes $70K a year. $70K. I'm giving him the information, the tools, the mindset that he can increase, right? Where he can get to a 6-figure net worth. He doesn't do it. He won't go about it. It is your lack of discipline. It is your unwillingness to sacrifice, to do whatever it takes, right? To get to that position. Here's a man that applies to so many jobs, but his mindset, he won't do whatever it takes because he is stuck on being a victim. Oh, you're going to give me a job automatically no matter what? Right? Oh, you're going to give me $1 million? You're going to give me no, I'm going to give you a job. I'm going to work for a man that is accomplished, right? I will be directly connected to a man that is accomplished, that is a multimillionaire. He's giving me a job. This is an opportunity where I can sacrifice, I can work hard to possibly achieve greatness, learn from someone who's accomplished great shit. No, I got, are you going to give me more money? How much are you going to give me? I got to know what you do. I got to see, where's the desire, right? Where's the, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Put me wherever, okay? Give me a job. Help me out. Push me to achieve better.
The way you just handled the situation
Got it.
here
So I should
was-
accept anything
No,
that somebody
it's not-
gives me
not
at
at
first
all.
blush
No.
if it is a guaranteed
No,
thing.
not necessarily,
I agreed to do your interview. I agreed to be interviewed by you, and you agreed to consider me for hiring.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am taking that opportunity. I've chosen to. But because I am asking you for specifics, your immediate reaction is that, oh, well, you're trying to be picky. When I'm not. I'm asking
specifics. You could have simply
I said I need to look up your company. That's all I
you could have
said.
said is, I'm willing to have the interview.
And I
Right,
did.
You would have had the interview.
And I did.
No, you said it depends.
I said,
don't
yeah,
know.
sure.
Let me look.
Yeah,
let me do
sure.
all
I
this
would
other
look into
stuff.
your company. That's all I said.
I appreciate you. Thank you, James.
Hi,
What's your
I'm
name?
Faye.
Faye?
Yeah,
Good to
nice
meet you.
So how would you define socialism? Because I think you're kind of misunderstanding what anti-capitalist ideals look like. I think we are just trying to advocate for basic rights for our people in this country and across the world, of course. But I don't think it's...
Across the world? Who the fuck are you? Just care about the fucking country you live in. Across the world, we got too many people who think they're, I don't know, Mother Teresa, who's going to change the world or whatever. I don't know. It's like, what?
necessarily about equal wealth disparity around the world. For most people that are anti-capitalist, I think it's more about just standard rights that are provided by the government.
Standard rights that are provided by the government.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
Go a little bit deeper. So for you, when the claim here is if the money in the world were divided
Yeah,
equally,
so
it will
I
return
think-
to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you disagree?
Yes.
Tell me why you disagree.
Yeah, so I disagree because I don't even think many people are trying to argue for that.
People are not trying
So
to
like,
argue
who
for
are
that?
you arguing in this
Yeah,
debate?
what I'm trying
There's
to
like
say-
a very select amount of people that are trying to argue for equal wealth disparity.
Yeah.
Most people are at least trying to at least advocate for wealth and at all for people that don't have access to healthcare right now, that don't have access to a good education right now, that don't have access to their basic needs like food.
Do you think our system right now allows people to stay in those situations long term?
They force them to stay in those situations long term.
Okay, so part of me actually agrees with you, but why do you think they force them to stay in those situations long term?
I think because they are trying to convince the working class that they don't have rights.
I actually don't think that's what it is, although that's fair to your point here. What's the chances that any of you here voted for Donald Trump in 2024? Exactly, right? What is the chances that all of you here can't stand the phrase MAGA, Donald Trump, any of that stuff? Is that a fair assessment? Fair, okay.
Yeah, so what's your
So
point?
think about it this way. So maybe you're right that the Democratic Party that's been earning your vote for a long time wants to keep you there because they'll
They
have
have
your vote
never
for the
earned
rest
my
of your
vote.
life.
They have never earned my
Who
vote.
did you vote for in 2024?
In 24, I voted for the socialist candidate.
Who was that?
Claudia de la Cruz, I believe.
Who did you vote for in 2020?
I was actually not able to vote. I was in a hospital.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Sorry to
because
hear.
of results of capitalism.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I didn't have access to proper health care or even access to a proper job that would sustain me as a disabled person.
Are you comfortable being specific on what happened?
I
you
guess
don't have
so.
to if you're not
I mean,
comfortable
I'm
with it.
also mentally ill, so that was something I had to deal with. But I'm mainly mentally ill because I am disabled in a capitalist country.
Tell me more about mentally ill. Who qualified you as somebody that's mentally ill?
Me and my doctor team.
Who convinced you that you're mentally ill?
Me and my doctor team.
What's the specific category of mental illness? Is there one? You know why I asked this question? Let me explain to why I asked this
So
question.
I don't even like the psychological industry. I don't really stand for like Sigmund Freudian politics or
Sure.
anything like that. So if you're
Yeah,
going
I
to
asked-
debate the ethics of psychology,
I'm not. Where I'm going with this is going back to the same thing with if the money were to divide it equally, it'll
Yeah.
end up being worse out within 5 years. My trouble is, in many cases, somebody you and I look up to will say something to us that we choose to believe for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, it could be something where you have ADHD, you're mentally ill, you're poor, you're this, you're
But
that,
why-
and we get to choose to buy into that or not. And if you do,
So you're saying I'm not mentally ill or I'm
not saying
disabled?
you are or you're not. I would challenge it to go a little bit deeper to see if there's anything you can do about it.
So you're asking me about my health. You're asking me about my disability
I'm
and
not.
my.
I will say we are in a market where, stay with me here, there is a market where there's profit to convince you to you have issues to take the medication because they're making money.
Yeah, but I
and
don't
I'm
have
not
access to
supportive
the
of that.
medication. I don't have access to even a result or a solution to my disability as someone with a connective tissue disorder. It's genetic.
Have you been able to go to different doctors and get yourself tested? And
Yeah.
See? You have?
Yes.
And in California?
Yes, but not
And who-
enough.
who paid
I can't
for it?
find a specialist.
You can't find
I
a
can't
specialist.
find a specialist
Is there
for who
anyone
I
in your
am.
life that's
I
willing to
can't
pay
find
for a
anyone.
specialist?
Well, they could if they had
Anybody
money,
in
but
your-
yeah.
Would you be okay if I pay for a specialist for you to go see?
Yeah.
Would you take money from a capitalist to help you go see specialists?
I mean, yeah, sure, why
I'm
not?
going to have you go see two. Do you live in California?
Yeah.
I'm going to have you go see two specialists. But would you also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may.
No.
You're not.
No.
So
you
simply-
choose as a psychologist.
I
You're
would-
choosing who gets to determine
No,
what my
what
mental
I-
health looks
what I-
like.
what I-
No. No.
Okay, then I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, so I think. All right, thanks for
Thank
talking.
you so much. Yes, anytime.
I do. You know, I think this is the entitlement thing where someone is willing to help you out, right? I mean, of course, like his help is not necessarily for free in a sense where he has a purpose for it. It is what it is. But for you to receive help that you complain that you don't get, where's the desire? Where's the, like, fuck it, I'll take it. Give me it, right? It's like sometimes like because here you are complaining that you don't have it, right? You don't have it. You're complaining that you don't have it. Well, here's a man that said, fine, take it, right? Take it. He's like, no, but you know what? Oh, how you gonna give it to me? No, I don't want it like that. It's like it's that sense of entitlement, right? Like, oh, you should give it to me how I want you to give it to me. Then don't take it at all, right? It's like he's not like he's saying like, oh, this is my doctor. He's gonna try to what? Fix you? Or he's gonna try to, I don't know, poison your brain? Like
How you doing, man?
What's your name?
Seth.
Seth, good to meet you.
I think your claim kind of doesn't make any sense because it would not inherently be a capitalist society you're describing. Because I'm surprised nobody's really addressed this issue. We haven't even defined what socialism is. Capitalism is a system in which all businesses are funded by millionaires and billionaires, investor classes. If this society, everybody had the same amount of money.
99% of businesses in the U.S. qualify as a small business, according to
I don't really know how the money would be generated up and down. I don't know in this theoretical. It sounds more like an anarchist society, which would make more sense.
You know,
to
we're
me.
using this as a hypothetical.
Yeah, so
I want to make sure I qualify
My
that
point
we're not.
being, we
Yeah.
even describe what capitalism is.
But stay on this point here because you came here. Let me go back to this one. If all the money in the world divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I disagree.
Tell me why
because
you
I
disagree.
believe in a system more akin to that kind of system. I think that a system with people with more wealth and
But
equality.
do you know why the wealth would go back to the same people and the same people
I
at
know
the
why it
bottom would be poor?
wouldn't.
Why do you think it would?
Well, it wouldn't go back to the same thing or places because I don't think that we have an inherent equal starting point in the beginning.
But this is a starting point. What I'm
I
saying to you
understand.
is if we
That's what I'm
right now
saying
did a
why it
case
wouldn't go
study-
to the same places because we've never even tested some sort of free market. We've never seen any sort of system akin to that. A genuine free market, not one that's distorted by capitalists, by business owners. Capitalists generally protect their own class. That's why people rise to the top. Yes,
I don't know
absolutely.
about that. I actually think it's
Absolutely.
a very
They protect
competitive
their own-
place to be.
No, there's not at all. People start at the very bottom. They have no shot to even.
Do you know why I make the claim of if all the money in the world were divided equally, would return to the same pockets within 5
I'm
years?
assuming that you think that because people work harder or something like that. But I would argue the people that work the hardest are the people that make the least amount of money. The people that work.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Working hard, great. You also have to work fucking smart. I'm tired of these people. Yes. One thing, working hard is very important. Problem is, everyone that works hard usually don't work smart. Right? They work hard, make that money, and then fucking spend that money. Spend it idiotically. Right? Spend it in a way that it just disappears. So this is why people who make six figures constantly say, "Oh, we live paycheck to paycheck." No fucking duh. Because you are living a lavish lifestyle, or you're living a lifestyle that, you know what, doesn't fit. So you're not working smart. That's the thing. Yes, you could probably work hard. Problem is, it's working smart as well.
The least live on their yachts are the ones that are owning all this company. They've never been inside the businesses that they own.
I don't know if I agree with that. I was just
Not
in Arkansas
everybody,
3 days
but
ago.
the richest
I
people?
was just in Arkansas a week ago, and I went to a city called Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was two friends from high school started a Windows company, 250 employees.
Yeah.
The city loves them. They work their tails off.
I'm not really
They're
referring to small businesses.
But I'm talking about, but many big businesses started small. Walmart wasn't
sure.
big day one. Walmart was small when it first got started.
Why are they still a monopoly? Because they exist off
They're
of...
not a monopoly.
Okay,
Amazon
not
is taking a
monopoly.
big share
they
away
own
from them.
oligopoly, whatever. They own a large market
Do you
share because
think-
their ability to use their money
Do
to
you know how
lobby
many
it.
jobs they've created around the world? Walmart has.
I'm not even referring
It's
to
3 million
Walmart.
jobs
The
worldwide.
The point being is capitalists distort the market so it's unfree. How could it be a free market
Okay,
if
so-
everybody in the market inherently wants to make it unfree because they want to rise to the top?
I'm watching
if
you.
everybody has the incentive to maintain a free market, then that's something that...
So let me go back. The reason why I said if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. To me, it's because of market value, what value you bring to the place, your contacts, your relationship, how hard you're working, all of those combined. Habits
those
that you have in
things, for
place,
sure.
habits that you have in place, and also habits at the bottom. The habits at the bottom are not long-term thinking, it's short-term. When I didn't have any money and I was broke $49,000, if I had $500 to my name, we're driving on the freeway to go to Vegas to party for the weekend and come back. If I had a penny to my name, I'm having a blast. Until 25 years old, I changed my habits financially. Then things changed. But this point here that we're talking about with the
some
wealth,
people are so far off from that point, they're so far in debt that small decisions would not alter.
it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you can make habits to change, right? I was heavily in debt. People are heavily in debt. You can make decisions to change certain things.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not true.
You're just privileged and you've lived in a certain
You think
example.
I'm privileged?
Well,
I'm
yes,
privileged.
You're privileged to become a millionaire because of your hard work. That's amazing. That's
my
the only
mom
person.
ran out of money and went back to Iran. You're talking to a guy that would have done 20 years in the army. If one guy doesn't call me, if one guy would have called me
the government funding you.
I understand that, and I joined the army because I had given up on life.
Social programs.
No, I had
absolutely.
I was not confident on what I could do, but I changed. So can you? Look at the way you're speaking to me.
You can change. You can work hard, but
do you know somebody like you? Do you know somebody like you that speaks this eloquently? If somebody gets a hold of you in real estate, insurance, finance, you can learn how to sell, and you can make some real good money. Somebody
But
like you that I'm
not
watching.
everybody's born with those abilities. You have to be like somebody who's white, tall, 6'4", whatever. They're
I'm
much
Middle
more
Eastern. I'm from Iran. Do you
But
realize
think
a
about
lot of
somebody
stuff
who's
that
not
goes
born-
against me?
Okay, but many people have no choice to
But that's
physically
an
alter.
excuse language to be making.
No.
That's not a language.
If you
Look,
never have the
today-
opportunity
listen,
to compete because
look,
you're pre-designed.
I appreciate you being respectful. Truly, you need to know that. So I'll be respectful to everybody.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you for being respectful. Right now, everybody that's here, me changing your mind, it's not a very high likelihood.
Sure.
Okay? The audience that's watching, 40% of them are going to agree with what you say, what you say, what you say, what you say, and they hate me. 40% of the audience is going to agree with me. 20% of the audience is in the middle saying, I don't know, man, what do you think I should do? Should I feel like a victim or should I not make excuses? Or what is that guy saying? Or should I do this? And should I sympathize? The 20% that's watching this, that has a fighting chance, I'm hoping they realize they can do something about their lives. We're not going to be able to solve 100% of people's problems, unfortunately.
I don't think people should keel over, but that doesn't mean most people have an equal competitive advantage to some.
I think everybody
somebody like
has
me
a certain
is,
gift
somebody
to offer.
like me is more privileged
I think
inherently. I don't think-
everybody listening to her present, she could be a lawyer. Listening to her present, she's got fire in her belly. Everybody here has got a gift. Every single person here has got a gift. Whether they choose to use it in a way to help them advance in life, that's not my
Not
fault.
everybody
That's on
can
them.
afford to increase their market value.
You can.
You don't have to afford it, right? You don't have. It's like seriously. You think that anyone who's a millionaire, you have to be a millionaire to do it. This is the problem, right? I've said this countless time before. Okay, one of the biggest problems I had, okay, is I thought, let's say, one of the things that changed my life is investing in stocks. But before I had it, I knew about stocks, right? Most of my life, I knew about stocks. I think like, oh, I don't have enough money. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the common narrative when it comes to stock investing. I don't have enough money for it. I don't have enough money to invest, or it's so risky to invest. It's like gambling and shit like that. Shit like that, right? That mindset. I don't have enough. You don't have the capital. You don't have the wealth to invest. Is what keeps you, right, a victim. What keeps you poor. What keeps you, struggling. I did not have the money to invest. But you know what? I learned, right? I learned, it's like, fuck it. All I needed was $100. And today, right? You can do it with $1. $1. It's about consistency, right? And thinking long term, not gambling, right? Consistency and thinking long term. Every week, put $1 into Google. Every week, put $1 into Amazon. Every week, put $1 into Facebook. Put $1 into Costco. Put $1 into Walmart. Why? This is the stupidity we have, right? We complain about these big companies. These companies are making money off of us and all that. Do you know, thanks to a capitalistic country, we can make money off of them. We can make money off of them. Instead of buying your coffee, how about use that $5, whatever, right? You buy coffee every week, right? Every day. How about not buy coffee every day? $5, right? Every day, $5 put into Google, not financial advice. Put into Amazon. Put it into Microsoft. Put it into Costco. $5 every day, right? Instead of buying a coffee every week, you buy one coffee every week, right? Or you buy a coffee every day. Don't buy a coffee. Put it into any of the big companies. Any of the companies you know of. Home Depot, McDonald's, whatever. Find a company, put it in every day. While you're doing that, right? Learn to budget. Learn to budget where your money's going, right? How you splitting your paycheck. While you're doing that, right? How about take $10 every day, put it in a high yield savings account, right? Cut out eating out. Cut out, I don't know, buying whatever, right? Cut out buying whatever shit, right? I said dollars, right? I said $5. I said $10, $1. It's not impossible. It's not that hard. It's not that delusional. It's not that crazy. But we make it fucking crazy because of shit like this. This shit is tiring. It really is. It's that victimhood mentality. It is tiring. It really is.
You actually
not
can.
everybody.
Well, we respectfully disagree.
I appreciate you.
Thank you again. Appreciate you.
Surrounded is currently casting passionate.
we never actually read the actual theory. And what theorists all agree on is that socialism would be a transitionary state between capitalism and communism, where the means of production are specifically owned by workers, not privately. The idea that any country now is anywhere near socialist, let alone communist, would simply be ridiculous, and just it wouldn't reflect theory whatsoever.
What is the definition of communism to you?
Stateless, moneyless, classless society.
And you prefer that?
Yeah, so I think that we should be moving towards,
communism.
Yeah, stateless, moneyless, classless society.
So you don't think a person like me should exist with the amount of wealth that I have?
Yeah, because I think that we're getting to this point where we're creating fake scarcity for people
Right.
like you to accumulate the wealth that you have on the basis of private ownership.
Okay, so you're not even not capitalist. You're definitely not capitalist. You're not socialist. You want to go full communism.
So what do you think that looks like, though, is the thing, right? So what Marx actually wanted was for us to reach a point where we no longer have the scarcity of resources that has kind of predicted, history as it looks like now. It wouldn't happen now.
Right.
It would happen as we
Right.
automate. At this point in time, we can decommodify housing and food and education for around 5% of the government budget. That's 1/5, a little bit.
This claim is not realistic. For instance, U.S. consumers and entities spent $2.6 trillion on food alone in 2024. The government spent a total of 6.75 trillion. So food would have been 38% of that. In a communistic country, where do you think you'll get money from? Where do you think you'll be able to provide for your citizens?
Bit over 1/5 of what we spend on the military already. We don't, because we were living in the state where it almost seems utopian that things
How
like
old
food
were
and
you the
shelter
first time you thought you wanted to be a communist? How old were you the
Is that
first time?
is that a response
I'm
to
actually
any
really
of the
curious.
statistics?
No, because the statistics are against you.
The statistics-
It's never worked. There's so many Cubans that moved to Miami. They love their
statistic that
country. They hate the
5%
politics. In Russia, they
Do you know
even
how
run
much-
away from
do you know how much
communism
money-
because it didn't work. It killed so
Because
many
that almost,
people.
almost like it wasn't communist.
It's almost
was there a state?
amateurish
Yes,
to
there was.
debate
Was
a
there class?
communistic
Yes, there
argument.
was. It's almost like you're not replying to any of the statistics that I've presented to you. I think that's the biggest problem.
You're a dictator telling me what
Dictators would
dreams
not
should
be allowed under communism.
Dictators end up, of course, running communism.
But they weren't.
If somebody's taxing 100%, what is a dictatorship?
So again, how much money do you think?
If I'm paying 100% in taxes, what is communism?
How much money
That's
do you think?
dictatorship.
How much money do you think would it take to, I don't know, allow everyone food, shelter, water, and education in this country?
How much money would it take?
Yeah.
But going back to your question here with communism, stay on that point there with
Nothing
communism.
I say is
But
responded
I'm
to.
trying to find out from you here. You're saying communism is not dictatorship.
No.
Define dictatorship.
Yeah, so when one person or when one small entity,
Right.
is able to, enforce its will on the people. When we have a
Beautiful.
private ownership,
Yep.
when we have a system based on private ownership,
Yeah.
that's what happens every
That's
single
dictatorship?
time. Yeah, so we
dictatorship is private ownership?
Yeah, so private-
So let me get
private
this straight. Under
ownership-
communism, under communism, doesn't Elon Musk exist?
Yeah, no.
No, so that's dictatorship. Thank you.
That's completely incorrect. Under
That's-
capitalism, we don't have, the freedom for people
You
to.
do. You do.
Okay,
Of
so
course you do.
under capitalism, right?
Under
we don't
communism-
see that
under
the
communism-
commodification.
Would you consider China
We don't see
communism
the
right now?
commodification
Would you consider
of
China
food,
communism right now?
shelter, or water, or
Would you
education
consider China
when we
communism?
can with 5% of the budget. Why don't we see that?
Would you consider China communism?
Why
right
haven't
now?
you answered any of my questions?
Would you consider
Why
China?
haven't you responded to any of my statistics?
Would you consider China communism?
It's almost like we're
right
not having a
now?
conversation and you're
We are
talking
having a
at me and not
conversation
with
where you
me.
have an argument that's been proven that it's not worked.
It's almost
and
like I just
everybody
gave you a
is
definition of
moving away
communism for you
from
to
it.
critique, and you haven't been able
If
to.
it's such a great system, why are other
It hasn't
nations
happened
not?
yet because we've never been at a point for it to happen.
Because we've not found a noble person that can do it the right way. That's not a
if you were to read the
dictator.
plain text
Right.
of Marx, we would see
Right.
that he wanted
I've
us
read
to reach.
Communist Manifesto. I've gone
I
through it.
promise you, if you
Have
have,
read
you wouldn't
Wealth
have
of
said
Nations?
that capitalism
Have you read
today
Wealth
is
of
socialist.
Nations? Have you read Wealth of
Yeah,
Nations?
so I've read Das Kapital, I've read the Communist Manifesto as
Okay.
well, Engels' Collective Works, etc. What do you think? If you think that communism is in any way
It's
us
dictatorship.
having wages or us having a
It's
privatized means of
dictatorship.
production, you don't know what it
You choose
is.
my dreams, and I refuse to do that.
Who
you
are you
don't
arguing
get to
with?
dictate my
Where
dreams.
did you get that from?
What do you mean?
Well, haven't I? That was interesting.
This is a thing where I find a lot of people really stupid. Okay? You imagine you impose a system onto your people. Okay? Your people have to find benefit in it. Your people have to find desire to live in it. The way you can impose certain kind of things where people don't want to do, right, is dictatorship. You have to force it onto people. Like you have to force it onto people. This is something where, I wish we would do some social experiments where we actually, you know what? Here's a plot of land or whatever.
Let's go. Justin, nice
Justin,
to meet you.
good to meet you.
How you doing, Patrick?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. So I need to pick your brain a little bit. You're saying U.S. is largely socialist. I want to focus on the word largely. So why do you believe it is largely socialist?
Because 68% or so of the money that we take in goes towards entitlement programs.
So I think one of the things that is going to be major to me, it's like Zena was touching on earlier, is going to be the fact that socialism is a big part of it is going to be workers owning the means of productions. When we have President Biden, for example, telling that the railroad strikers, it's going to be illegal for them to strike, I don't see that as much of a workplace democracy.
Did you have a question, or you're just saying the fact that you don't agree with President Biden and what he said?
I'm just saying a core tenet of socialism is the workers owning the means of production. So workers currently do not own the means of production. So why do you believe it is largely socialist?
So you're saying the workers should own the means of production?
That is correct.
Okay, so to you, that's the definition of socialism.
That is a core tenet of it.
What else would you define as socialism? I'm curious.
There's a lot of different things. It's like Zena was touching on as well. Moneyless, stateless class of society. But I think more important than not, workers owning the means of production and workplace democracy.
Or are you more socialist?
They're the same term, man. Marx used them interchangeably.
Well, the only difference I would put is because where I see in America, I think we are extremely getting close to being a socialistic nation with the amount of taxes that we have in place right now.
That's great.
But at least under communism, I can't survive. I would prefer us staying at the 10% tax rate. I think we're paying way too much taxes.
Why would you not be able to survive?
I wouldn't be able to pursue my dreams that I have in place under communism. My mother's family, they were part of the two-day party. The two-day party in Iran was a communist party. They had escaped Armenia and Russia and came down to Iran, and they pursued communism. I grew up in a family where everything was about the rich are greedy, the rich people are bad, the rich people are this, and the rich people are that. My dad's side, they were imperialist. My dad's side, they said poor people are lazy. So one side, rich people are greedy. The other side, poor people are lazy. Who's right?
I would say that neither are right, of course.
I would say both are right and wrong, is what I would say.
Both are right.
And wrong. Both are right and wrong. Because I do believe there are extremely greedy rich people. And I do believe there are extremely lazy poor people. But I also believe there's a lot of hardworking poor people that are working, but they haven't found a way to get out of it. I agree with that as well.
So that's actually a major point right there. They're not able to get out of it.
You can get out of it. You could actually get out of it.
But you just said they're not able to.
No, because they're choosing not to. I just made an offer for a book recommendation here, so I'm not interested. If I sit there and somebody's giving you feedback and saying, what about if you think about finding ways to improve your life?
Offer me that book then. I'll check it out.
Read the book?
Sure, why not?
I'll give you a handful of them.
We'll talk about this
I'll
after
give it to you afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
The point I'm trying to make to you is, if you can exist under a capitalistic society, and I can exist under a capitalistic society, so can she. But
we can both exist under a socialistic society.
Not under communistic, and under socialism, the incentive would be bad. Think about it this way.
Incentive is high under socialism as well, but that's not what we're doing.
During COVID, take the two states, California and New York. They lost $1 trillion of wealth that left. Do you know where they went to?
Where did they go
went to Texas, Nevada, Florida, Tennessee. You know why? Because it's a better climate for entrepreneurs. Today, if you look at New York City, you know
that's just how the market works.
You know who Mamdani is.
I understand how
you know who Mamdani is. Are you a fan of Mamdani?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I love Zoran.
Zoran's up there saying he doesn't believe billionaires should exist.
Correct.
I hope he wins. I hope he wins. You know why? Because he says, I don't believe billionaires should exist, and he's going to be the mayor of a city that has the most billionaires in America, 123. I hope he wins so we can see what happens to New York when the billionaires leave. When they leave, here's who's going to pay the price. The people that are left behind, who were taking advantage of the taxes that billionaires were paying, you think the government's going to change their budget and expenditure?
When there's a $30 minimum wage, I can't imagine that
Middle America's going to take the biggest hit if billionaires leave the state of New York. You'll see. Oh, you're back.
Hello,
How are you? Good to see you.
Learn a bit more.
Okay.
Firstly, I want to start by saying that the U.S. is not largely socialist, because that's not what socialism is. Socialism is social or collective ownership by the workers or a community of the means of production, right? So we're talking about like city-run grocery stores, or we're talking about worker cooperatives, or even in some cases.
Oh, I was. What is it? There was a. Let's see. Give me a minute. Okay, I just saw this. Right. Government-run grocery stores often fail because they struggle with efficiency, operational expertise, and financial viability, lacking the market-driven incentives for innovation and profit that private businesses have, leading to issues like empty shelves, poor selection, losses that shifted to taxpayers, while potentially harming private grocers in the same market. Let's see, where... Okay, examples. Right, Sun Fresh Market in Kansas City, Missouri, a publicly funded grocery store that reportedly struggled with empty shelves, poor conditions, and significant taxpayer losses. Well, shows you that kind of fails. So
credit unions, where a local community owns the bank that they take part in, right? That's what socialism is. Socialism is not when the government does stuff for you. It's not when they build roads. It happens under capitalist economies, it happens under socialist economies. But I'm also not sure you entirely know what capitalism is, and if it's okay, I'd like to ask a couple questions about your job.
Sure.
Because you're offering that. I know that you're Valuetainment, right? You run a YouTube podcast. You also run PHP Agency, right?
Yep.
Yes. And you sell life insurance policies, right?
Life insurance and annuities.
Yes. I read an article by the Daily Beast which argued that you make more money from recruitment fees to get people to work for you than you make money from selling those policies. Capitalism is when you provide a service and sell the labor of yourself or the person who works for you in return for money. But you're not really doing that, right? You're selling being part of the company through recruitment fees. I'm not sure that's capitalism.
How familiar are you with the insurance industry?
Pretty familiar.
Are you?
Yes.
You've been in the industry before?
No, my grandfather was. And I asked him a lot of questions.
So in the insurance industry, when you're in it,
yes,
you get paid
yes.
by selling life insurance policies, and you get paid by selling annuities.
Yes.
We built a distribution channel of a company right after I left Morgan Stanley and Transamerica. We started the insurance company. We grew it, helping middle-income families who didn't have another opportunity to create wealth for themselves. I just came back from our event in Vegas.
Hold on, I'm not sure that's correct, though.
It is, though.
It's not correct, though, because what do you make more money from?
I just came back from. We don't make money from recruiting.
I read the Daily Beast article that did that. I also watched CoffeeZilla's debate with you, where they pulled up receipts that the majority of the employees of your company don't make any money.
Here's a question for you. For you. Bring up CoffeeZilla.
Yeah.
Daily Beast is a different story. Go to CoffeeZilla.
Sure, of course.
Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla? What do you think?
I think that it's not really capitalist.
Hang on a second. Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla? They were actually very strong when they came back after me. We had a 2-hour conversation.
Yes.
We finished it. It was good to go. We moved on. Their claims that only 1% or 2% make and nobody makes it in insurance, they're right. Most people don't make it in insurance. Just like most people who move to California don't make it in Hollywood.
So I believe
and
the
most people
technical
don't make it
term
in
for
real
when you
estate.
make more money from getting people to be part of a company than from actually selling a service is called a multi-level marketing scheme. Do you think that that's
No,
a
that's
fair
not what it is. Not at
characterization
all.
of your company? Why not?
Do you know what multi-level is?
Yes, I know. It's where you make more money from, it's sort of like a pyramid scheme, wherein you make more money from getting people to be part of it and selling them to be part of the company.
A pyramid scheme doesn't have a product. That's criminal. A multi-level marketing company is more like an Amway, an Herbalife, a New Skin, those companies.
But
because it pays you.
You are making more money from getting people to be part of your
pays
company than you are from making money from actually providing a service.
That's not true. It's a claim by Daily Beast. By the way, do you know what a quality of earnings is?
Yes.
What's a quality of earnings? Tell everybody what a quality of earnings is. Go ahead.
Fair point. The quality of earnings isn't that like the value that's produced from when you make the money? Like how much from the labor that's produced, or am I wrong?
What is quality of earnings?
I gave you what I think the definition is.
Okay. So quality of earnings is I sit there and I want to sell the business to you.
Yeah.
You make an offer of $250 million. Okay. I tell you, this is my business. Here's how much profit we make. You leave and you say, great, let's make a deal. I'll pay $250 million. We shake on it. Then you validate whether it is worth that or not by going and paying a big company a few $100,000 to check the quality.
Okay, so same deal as like having someone look at the quality of the gold that you're going to buy.
PwC came and they do a quality of earnings to say, is this company really worth this? They get to make a decision whether the company is truly doing what you or Daily Beast claims to do.
The value comes from your brand. It comes from going on podcasts like that, even when they expose the business model, because you are not selling.
Do you know what ended up happening? Don't make claims
you
you
don't
know
what
about.
you're selling?
Do you know what ended up happening?
You know what you're selling, right?
Do you know what ended up happening?
Do you know what you're selling?
The company
you're selling your personal
buying,
brand. You're selling the idea, because when you're offering people here jobs, right? You're saying that they would have to pay you money to get that. So in reality, you're trying to convince them to pay you money to be part of your company.
Claims of defaming. Be very careful defaming when you don't know the facts.
You have a recruitment fee.
Be very careful claiming. Be very careful making that claim when you said people here have to pay to work at our company.
It's recruitment
Be very careful. No, those are two different things.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Tatiana.
Tatiana?
Yeah,
Good to meet
Anya,
you.
but yes. And your name's Patrick, right?
It is.
And I don't know a lot about you before coming in
even
today. But why do you use socialism and capitalism like in this instance? I've noticed a lot of people have defined the vast differences, but you're insisting that we're still like a more socialist like country. Why are you insisting upon
that's
that?
a fair question. So for me, there's different definitions you can have. Under communism, to me, it's 100% taxes, meaning I can't go create my own property. If I want to build a billion-dollar company, I can't do it under communism. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I guess it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So capitalism, I would ideally like to see taxes between 10 to 30% max. I'd like a flat tax, but somewhere between 10 to 30%, because I still do think there's certain things that the government needs to do. Military protection, certain things. Socialism to me is 30% and up. Anything above that you're taking the money away from me without my choice to use it for things where we get to 68% of entitlement programs, I'm not a fan of that.
Okay, so let's talk about where we're at. I believe you said reasonable wage and minimum wage. What about a livable wage? And we haven't really talked about livable wages because they
What do you
differ.
think about minimum wage? So what do you think minimum wage should be?
So I think we have a long way to go.
Okay.
I'm not really a big fan of these little increment things, especially when it's not like rent. It's stopping and leveling out. It's like it's far exceeding what most people
I don't disagree, for
make.
sure. Yep.
And so I'm just wondering how you still can sit here and say that when I know you like to talk about you came up from Haagen-Dazs and all this other stuff.
In Glendale
and,
Galleria, 20 minutes away
great,
from here.
Love that for you. But we're talking about where you are today and where I am, a majority of these people in the room.
Sure.
And I haven't
believe
really
you can
heard.
change.
Yes, we can
Okay.
change, but I think that there's certain systems.
Are you
in
talking
place.
minimum wage? You want to address the minimum wage
We're going to talk
topic?
minimum wage, but I like to say livable wage
Okay.
because I think they're
What do
two
you
very
think it
different
should be?
things.
What do you think it should be?
I think that we should go per state because every state is different in
Give me
terms
a
of what
number.
they can
Where do you
have.
live? You live in
I
California?
live in California.
What do you think it
so
should be?
based on the
Minimum wage.
MIT living wage calculator, it's an actual livable wage calculator. It's $27.81 should be the starting, and then if you have kids and so forth, then you can go up from there.
Okay.
But starting at about $27
So,
hourly.
let's look at case studies of what happened.
Mhm.
California chose to increase the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour,
Mhm.
restaurant workers. Do you know what happened in the state of California? Mass exodus. People left and went different places. You know what restaurant owners did? Like, I can't compete with these guys if you raise the minimum wage. But the challenge with minimum wage is also the following. So say there's two companies. You have Walmart, okay, in Bakersfield, pick a city, and you have a different supermarket that's been in the same family for 60 years. The governor here says we're going to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour. Who do you think can afford it? The market that's been within a family, the small business, or you think Walmart? Who do you think can afford to go to $20 an hour minimum wage?
So that's why I think we have to factor in other systems other than capitalism. I think you're kind of making the point that's been made a few times today, where we
No,
can't
it
just
hasn't
look
been
at
made. This
one
hasn't been made.
thing.
No, this hasn't made. The point I'm making here is, anytime a Bernie Sanders gets up and says, let's raise the minimum wage for $15, and he was caught in his campaign not paying his own workers $15, $13 an hour, and he had to talk about it and apologize that even a guy that's a socialist wasn't paying a minimum wage. But if you raise it to $15, Amazon celebrates.
Okay.
Walmart celebrates. Do you know why? Because the employers from this supermarket that have been working for this family for the longest time, they can't afford to pay that. So they leave and go to Amazon and Walmart. What happens? The bigger companies keep getting bigger. The small businesses go out of business because of minimum wage.
Okay, so you mentioned Bernie Sanders. I didn't mention him. Cool for Bernie Sanders. Whatever. Do you pay a livable wage or a minimum wage for your employees?
There's not a single soul in our company that I pay $15 an hour or $20 an hour.
Okay, so are you paying them livable wages though?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Of course we
based
are.
on your standards
because
or
of
based
my
on
choice.
like the stats?
Because of my choice.
So you're
Because
determining
we-
what people's livable wages
well,
are?
no, I look at the marketplace and I see what's going on, and I get to pick and choose what percentile of people I want to hire. Do I want to hire bottom 10%, 25%, 50%? I'll pay a little bit more because I want to get somebody that's got a little bit more experience.
Okay. Okay.
Tanya?
Titania.
Titania? Thank you.
Hi again, Patrick.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Can you remind me again why you think this country is largely socialist?
Out of the $4.9 trillion of revenue that we get in, 4.8, 4.9, 68% goes to entitlement programs. That's the reason why I say America's socialism.
Do you think that we should have a say in where our taxpayer dollars go?
That's why we have elections.
Okay.
And you vote for it. Yeah.
So you agree that we should have a say in where our taxpayer dollars go?
If you're asking me who should have a right to vote, I would change the system in a major way of who would have the right to
I'm
vote.
not asking you if
You're
people
asking me a question.
I'm not
and
asking you
giving
who should have the right to vote.
Right.
I'm asking you, do you think that
The
our
current system
taxpayer dollars should be
allows-
dictated by us?
The
where that
current
goes?
election allows you to vote and decide who you want to be your candidate.
Absolutely. Okay. So I would argue that the biggest handouts go to billionaires because we give billions and billions of dollars in subsidies to billionaires every single year. Elon Musk just got a huge raise. Not sure why. He's worth over hundreds of billions of dollars.
You're talking be specific. You're talking about SpaceX?
I'm talking about SpaceX,
you're
Tesla.
talking
I'm
SpaceX?
talking about the companies
Okay.
that we fund as taxpayers. So why did we never vote for that?
Why did you never vote for the money going
Do
to
you,
some
see
of
an,
these
do you see an
companies?
issue with the fact that we as
Well,
taxpayers didn't have a
if
say
you're-
in,
if-
first of all, electing this tech oligarch?
Once you elect somebody,
and deciding where our taxpayer
Yeah.
dollars go.
Once you elect who you elect, what they do next, you don't have a say during that time.
We didn't elect
until
him.
the next election. No, I'm talking Congress, Senate. They make a decision on who they give the money to, and they
But
approve.
he's been getting this amount of subsidies through every administration. I'm not just referring to the Trump administration.
Let's talk about how he's done. Okay, so the NASA was shut down many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since then, how has NASA done? Trying to find a way to go to space. What has SpaceX done? SpaceX
What
has
has
been
NASA
able
done?
to do.
What has
to go
NASA
to
done?
space
NASA gave us the
1/20th of
satellite,
a
which
cost.
you use every time you
1/20th
use your
of a
phone.
cost. If you let me finish, NASA versus SpaceX. Elon Musk, as much as you hate him, Elon Musk was able to go to space for 1/20th of a cost because government organizations
Elon Musk has the
don't
ability
manage
to
finances
eradicate extreme
accordingly.
poverty in this country, and he chooses to send rockets into space and make extremely ugly cars that we never actually
Cannot eradicate extreme poverty. I mean, it's like fucking. This is a thing where we neglect human beings, right? We neglect human beings and their autonomy. It's like I literally said of a story of a woman getting a free house, okay? No strings attached. Here's a free house. She went into the house, lived there a couple months, destroyed, piss on the floor, piss on the wall, things broken up, trash everywhere, and left that house. Went somewhere else. You can't eliminate poverty when you have stupid people.
Funded.
Believe it or
So
not,
I would
most
argue,
liberals drive his cars. So
well, I would say the Cybertrucks, it's a poor decision aesthetically.
the
But
Cybertruck.
I'm not
is a poor
discussing the
decision?
aesthetics of his products.
It's so funny because when you say what you say about, say, the Democratic side on the climate change side, the guy that's worked towards that the most, you guys loved him till he supported Trump. Elon was your favorite 8 years ago until he supported Trump. The moment he went into Trump, this guy's a horrible guy. This guy's a terrible guy.
To be fair, I've hated Elon Musk consistently throughout my adult life. And I also think that he is someone who has benefited immensely from the government. That's why I find hypocrisy in what you're saying.
I don't disagree
also think
on that
he's,
side.
He's benefited immensely from the exploitation of labor overseas. He's benefited immensely from his extremely aggressive union tactics, union busting tactics. So I'm saying, like, why
Is he a
are
net
we...
positive to you for society?
Is he a net positive for me personally?
Is he a net positive for society, not for you?
I wouldn't say so.
You
no.
don't think he is?
No, I wouldn't
Who
say so.
to you is a net positive to society? Bernie Sanders?
I mean, Bernie Sanders is, I would say he's a compromise candidate, but I would say that...
He's a compromise candidate.
Yes, I would
is
say he's a compromise
AOC a net positive to society?
I would say net positive, yes.
More than Musk is?
Yes, absolutely.
Really? Tell me
Yeah.
why.
Because AOC wants to introduce a Green New Deal, and I think that the New Deal is the closest
For $30
thing...
trillion?
Okay, Trump literally just added $3.4 trillion to our
There's a big
deficit, so I really don't want to hear...
30 trillion and
okay, so I'm
3
saying,
trillion.
I'm saying that I think that, you know, when we look at the system that we currently have, I think that we need...
AOC did what? Elon Musk introduced, right? Thanks to his help, thanks to his actions, popularized, right? Electric cars, right? Did you not care about the environment? I mean, it's like, what the? I mean, AOC does what really?
To redistribute the wealth in a significant way, and we need to reintroduce something like the New Deal.
Why
And I
don't
think
you-
AOC has been the closest to doing that. I'm not
Why
saying I'm the
don't
biggest fan of
you-
her, but I'm saying that we need a marginal tax rate.
Right.
That is something similar to the New Deal, 70 to 90%. Ideally, I would go for a wealth tax. Anyone over $999 million has to pay every year. But I'm saying that
Say that one more time. You would do what? Anybody that
I
makes
would
over...
I would introduce a wealth tax. So
Okay.
I'd say that anyone who makes over $999 million needs to pay. So I think that no one should be a billionaire. I think that we should put the cap.
No one should be a billionaire.
Absolutely not. Do you think that people can survive on $999 million?
This isn't how life works.
Do you think someone can
This is
survive on
a-
$999 million? I'm asking you, do you
utopia.
think someone
You
would be
don't get
okay?
to dictate
Do you think
how
someone's
a
life would be
person
impaired if they
drives
had
and
only
do it.
$999
You
million
don't get
instead
to
of $1 billion?
dictate that.
You're not answering the question.
Fortunately,
Answer
these
my
companies
question.
that
People can. This is the thing where, okay, then you might as well like say the cap is over the cap is 100 grand. People can survive on 50. People can survive on 70, 60, 80. Why not just say the cap is at 100? Why not? What an arbitrary number, right? It's like, if you care about what's the level of people can survive, you might as well just say, I don't know, under six figures.
continue to grow.
Why are you avoiding my
created
question?
jobs for others.
Do you think someone
And
could
you, in
reasonably
America,
survive on
don't get to
$999
dictate
million?
How big a person wants to build their business. That's not
Why
your
do
vote.
you-
By the way,
why
why
do you
don't
think
you
we-
elect someone that pursues those policies? Bernie was your hero for many years. He became compromised.
I never said he was my hero.
But how did Bernie become compromised?
I said that
You said he's a
I said
compromised
he's a compromised
candidate. Why
candidate.
is he a compromised candidate?
I mean, he was definitely compromised by the Democratic Party, who didn't want him elected.
What happened?
I'm saying he's a compromised candidate in that I would go further than him, but I also know that he's probably the best we have right now, and I would like to see him as president, ideally, or someone similar. I think Zohran Mamdani, who you mentioned earlier, I think
I
he's an
can't
excellent
wait for him
candidate.
to win. You know why
Why
I
is
can't
that?
wait for him to win? Because I can't wait for the data that comes out after he wins.
Mhm.
I can't wait to show you all the numbers the next 4 years after he
If
wins.
rich people have to flee New York
They will.
because of his policies,
They
that
will.
means that they're too economically fragile
No,
to
because if
handle
you
those
don't
taxes.
appreciate people that create jobs, they will go
What
somewhere
kind
that
of
they're
jobs are we
appreciated.
creating?
A high-paying
we have
job.
to look past job
they
creation.
pay high-paid jobs.
Many of the
if you
jobs-
bring value to the market.
The reality is that Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
and Jeff Bezos,
Right.
they have huge monopolies over our market, and they're able to pay as little
I
in
think the
wages
only
as
company
they'd
that
like.
has a monopoly- I think the only company
they
that
quite
has a
literally
monopoly-
control the wages and the costs in.
I find that like it's kind of a. These things is just like people just want to. This is the thing with a lot of these debates, where it's like people not having a conversation, right? An honest conversation, a respectful conversation. Really, people just want to really just spout whatever. I mean, like, in my honest opinion, when having a conversation with someone, right, having a debate with someone, it's I believe the tenet should be open minded, right? You should be open minded. You should be willing to critically think, willing to, if, right, something sounds correct, if something is reasonable, if something is, you know, you have an open mind to change. We have so many people who are so stuck, right? So stuck on whatever they think, they can't change. they would not do anything different. So I think it's just tiring, right? I think it's tiring. That's why it's hard for these conversations. But I think that's it, right? It's a long live. I mean, it's a long video, so I think that's it. What do you guys think? If you guys want to see the rest, right, or you guys want to see it without commentary or whatever, go to Jubilee, right? You can check it out on them. But that's it, right? Later, guys.